So a very good morning to my online students as well, and a very good morning to all of you. All okay? Cool. Did you watch yesterday's video? Wonderful. So tell me guys, how are the concepts yesterday? How was the CSAT class? Nice. All right. All right, we'll have a talk at the end, but we'll have it. Don't worry. Acha, to remind something, no? So even I don't remember what was that. I told, acha, theek hai, we'll see it. When everybody comes, somebody will remind me, I told them. Okay. But don't you think that these things are not very difficult, just that revision and proper techniques are to be applied? Practice, but learning is important. If you know the tricks, you can easily get through it. And banking should be learned like this, because writing the literature part becomes very easy if you know the concept. If you know that the reserves of the bank are of two types, required reserve as well as yes, thank you. Now I got reminded about the dictation part. Thank you. The required reserve and the excess reserve. Then you can write the literature anytime you feel like. Please write components of SLR. You write it in your fact book, data book, fact book, guys. Components of SLR. लिखिए currently SLR has the following components. SLR has the following components. Please write government securities, gold, cash, next one is other securities. I gave you some examples of other securities. Absolutely. Other securities like, please write, state, development, loans. State development loans. Leave 2-3 lines after that. I'll give you more components as we do banking. There are more. And these are the ones which are asked by UPSC. So leave 2-3 lines, please. Let's come back. Let's do a question first. One exercise for you. That's your question. Please solve it, kids. And it should not take you more than 30 seconds. CSAT. So to my online and offline kids, solve it, please see. You can write it immediately in your notebook. Fatapat likhiye, please write salary is equal to 200 rupees. Quickly. Salary is equal to 200 rupees. Then please write demand deposit is equal to 95 rupees. Time deposit is equal to 55 rupees. Time deposit is equal to 55 rupees. Demand deposit 95, time deposit 55. Now, excess reserve is equal to 107 rupees. Excess reserve is equal to 107 rupees. Right? Excess reserve. Now you have to calculate everything else. So what are the things that we'll calculate? Be with me and please tell me step by step. What shall we write in demand deposits? 95. Time deposits 55. Demand and time liability 150. Very nice. Now can we calculate CRR 4%? Please calculate and tell me. CRR. How many rupees? Very nice. So Suchita, Manu, you already calculated, which is 6 rupees. SLR 18%. Please calculate. Abhi we have just started. How much? 27. Very nice. So if you add it, okay, no problem. ठीक है, if they're traveling, it's okay. So 27 plus 6, 33. 33 is what? RR. Very good. Now, can you tell me what is currency in hand? 50? 50. Now guys, can you tell me what is this currency deposit ratio? 0.5. How did you calculate? Money in hand, which is 50, upon demand deposit, which is 95. Calculate the ratio, please. Tell me. Use your phone. 0.5, 2. Now, we have got these many things. Can we calculate loan amount? You have to calculate 2-3 things now. First, we have to calculate reserve deposit ratio, RDR. You have to tell me what will be this ratio, and you have to calculate the loan amount. Everything is there in front of you. Can we calculate? How did you calculate? Brilliant. How did you calculate? Nice, Pawan and Manu. Good. Already calculated. How did you calculate 10? Jugaad. Your offline friend is saying that because I could read your mind. Right? Predictable. How did you calculate? Let me write. So what are you saying? TR. ER is equal to 150 plus CRR minus loan. RR which means you are saying that whatever be the total deposits, let's write our old formula. Total deposit is equal to RR plus ER plus loan. Simple. There is no confusion. So then let's put all the numbers. Absolutely correct. Good. Let's put all the numbers. So what is the total deposit? Let's write 150. RR 33 plus 107 plus loan. But yes, you're right. You guys gave me the directly this step, but answer was correct. Steps were correct. Answer is 10. Now, can you calculate this? Please calculate the reserve deposit ratio and tell me what is the reserve deposit ratio. Wonderful. Two of you already calculated. 0.93. This is RDR is equal to 0.93. Very nice. So all of us are there at the calculations. All fine? All okay? Wonderful. These are the very simple, in fact, not even CSAT level, very basic. Plus, minus, plus, not even multiplication. Very basic things. But yes, it is required. Why? Ab dekho, I'll tell you the, very good morning. I'll tell you the magic now. See, I have not taught you anything advanced in terms of banking so far. I've just taught you basics. These are basics. Let me tell you how with basics you can still predict high funda things without studying. We will do the high funda things today. That's my plan. But the high funda things are, in fact, let me say, they look more basic than this. How? I'll show you. I'm going to demonstrate something through gestures. So see this, please. Now there are these two currency notes. Look carefully, bacho. I'll ask you simple question. These two currency notes will 100 and it is 20. So suppose that I have just received my salary, 120 rupees. I keep a larger amount in my hand. Think about it. I keep and who gave me this? Who released this money in the economy? RBI. I'm going to write something. You tell me if you agree with this or not. So this is RBI. I'll give you dictation on all this, but first I want to deal with symbols today. Then maybe towards the later half of the class, we'll do the dictation literature part, but first symbols. So that's your RBI. What did RBI do? RBI printed currency. RBI printed currency. After printing currency, what did RBI do? RBI said that I'm going to release it in the economy. Let us have a very simple demonstration of the economy. So imagine that this money that RBI has printed reaches consumers, people, right? So this person has the currency now. So currency in the hand is called C, currency in circulation. So when RBI releases currency, it will go in two places. One, people. People could be anyone, you, me, an entrepreneur. They are also people. They are also normal people only, right? So any individuals, currency in circulation, it's circulating like this, currency in circulation. Second, part of this money released by RBI can go in the banking system. And who deposits money in the bank? People like you and I. So this guy will deposit something in the bank and something this guy is going to have in the hand. Sometimes RBI also releases money in the bank and says, you take the money. Bank will give the money to public. But whatever happens, whatever permutation combination you want to do, but this money released by RBI will be either here or here. From here and here only it goes elsewhere. Either there are people or there are financial institutions. Simple. We are simplified. Where will the money go? Where else will the money go? You will say company. Company is also here. Anybody who keeps the money in hand, I am denoting that person by this. Anybody who holds the money in hand, matlab cash, if you can see cash, that is there. So suppose the CEO of a company is holding a bag full of cash, there. Financial institution, there. So entire money released by RBI is here. Try to see step by step, very simple. Now, let's give a name to this. Let's give it a name H. Right, High Command. So whenever, Your Highness, High Command. So whenever somebody who is the boss releases something, we'll say that, High Command has released cash, H. And now this is currency in circulation, C. Now this is the money in the bank account. This can be divided into two parts. You are smart, you know it. So how can you divide this? Required reserve plus excess reserve. Two things only. But if you say, what if this bank has given loan? It is there. Any leakage from here is here. Whatever is left is these two. Agree? That's what we were doing. All this while, what were we doing? Yahi to kar rahe the. That's what we were doing. So money came in the banking system, 150. Some leakage happened, 10 rupees. And after the leakage, 10 rupees gone. From 150, 10 gone, 140 remained. This 140 is your bank reserve. Excess reserve plus required reserve. That's what we did. So, let's go back and see what will happen. So this required reserve and excess reserve, I'm going to denote by R. All cool? All fine? Basic equation. Now, there are one or two things which I want you to notice here and look very carefully. Whenever we go to this previous picture, whenever people get this salary 200 rupees, if you ask these people that how much out of this 200 are you going to keep and how much are you going to give in the bank? Now see what we are going to do. So these people will tell you that our tendency is whenever we deposit 95 rupees, or let's add it together. So whenever we deposit 150 rupees in the bank, we give it to the bank. Our tendency is to keep something with us also, which is 50. So we have split our salary into two parts, 150 and 50. Then you tell these people, no, I don't want to know about that. Because there is a component called time deposit which you will not touch. Just tell me, what is your habit of expenditure which you want to do quickly, immediately, in short time, without any restriction? So then this person tells you, then it's very clear. 95 rupees is here. For every 95 rupees, 50 rupees here. Every 95, 50 here. Then you tell this person, hold on, sir. You mean to say that whenever you get salary, this is your habit, currency to deposit, this is your habit. That whatever you deposit here, uska 52% you are going to keep here. Oh, okay. See, 52% of 95 will come out to be this. Karlo, please open the calculator and check. 0.52 into 95. Fadafat, please do it, guys. Do it, please. It will help you because we are going to play with this number a lot. Open the calculator, please, and tell me 95 into 0.52. What is the answer? 49 point something? Because this is not 0.52, it will be decimals. So roughly you will get 50. 49, roughly 50. Because this is in decimals, no 0.52, 3, 4, as it will come. So roughly you will get 50. Okay. Oh, there you go. Look at this carefully. You'll find something really magical about it. So now what is happening is, I'll give you a random number. Let's do a random number. So suppose that this person deposits, this person has a habit, this person deposits 500 rupees in the bank. So can you tell me, if he deposits 500, how much is he going to hold in his hand? For every 500 that he deposits, how much money will he hold? This is his habit, 0.52. So what are we going to do? 0.52 into 500. Do it, please tell me. 2. Brilliant. Which means if this person deposits 500 here, he will keep 260 in the hand. So how do you predict the behavior of this guy? You predict the behavior of this guy using this formula. Because we know this ratio. We just need to know this ratio once, and then we know the behavior of this person. Every time he'll deposit something here in his hand. He'll keep something in his hand. So whatever he deposits, uska roughly 52% he keeps in his hand. That's his habit. So now, he has received a salary of 200 rupees. Immediately, because it is habit, he just received a salary of 200 rupees, 50 in the hand, 95 and 55. This 95, he can withdraw anytime he feels like. This 55 he is not going to touch. But for a bank will assume that everybody is not going to come in 1 second and withdraw both of these. Because everybody who deposits money, either demand or time or both. But banks assume that not everybody will come, so it's fine. Now bank is going to be happy for another reason. I'll show you why bank will be happy and what should you think about it. So this guy got a salary of 200. He has kept 50 rupees in his hand. Bank is very happy that, hey, you have kept minority. Majority you have given me, 150. That's your DTL. Now this bank is celebrating, I have got 150. Everybody will say, why are you so happy? So this bank says, you have no idea why I'm happy. Then you ask them, no, tell. So this bank says, the moment I get money, first of all, reserve requirement. I'll give something to RBI. Something, madam, legally which is required. So this is blocked. So I'll call it as blocked. This I can't touch. Now I'll call it as RBI legal requirements. So this is out. Now how much money is left in my hand? If you subtract 150, may say 33. Please tell me fatafat. Oh, depend, very nice. 150, 117. So 117 is left with this bank. Now what this bank will do, see. The bank says, Assume that there is no loan given. We put every time loan, no, just to understand that in calculations how to treat it. But suppose no loans given. So now if no loans are given, can you please tell me what does the equation become? Total deposit is equal to required reserve plus excess reserve minus loan. Minus loan. But this is not there. So now total deposit is 150. What is required reserve? 33. Excess reserve becomes 117. Equation is balanced. Because we are not giving loan. Ab dekho magic. So the moment 150 reaches here, immediately this bank says my 33 is stuck, but I have got 117 in my hand, and I know that not everybody is going to come to me and take 117 at one go. See what bank will do. Bank will say, let me multiply this money. Because if money, so imagine bacho that this is 117. Bank is holding this. So let me show you what bank is holding. This is the bank's pocket. Bank is holding 117 like this. And now bank says, this is mine. I'm going to play with it now. And if any emergency happens, I'll call RBI and take money through repo rate. Okay. If more problems happen, then I'll call RBI and take money through MSF. I have so many ways. If more problem happens, call money. So call money, repo, MSF. If any emergency happens, I have so many other ways. Don't worry. Worst case, if nothing happens, I'll sell my property. Yeah? So many options are available. Now see what the bank will do. Bank will say this 100, money vanishes too fast. No, that's the problem. So 117 is there in my pocket. I'm the bank. But I want to multiply this. But if I keep it in my pocket, I won't be able to multiply. What is this? Is this required reserve or excess reserve? Excess reserve. Look at the beauty now. Required reserve gone to RBI. Now this is excess reserve. What will I do? I'll take out 10 rupees from here. From here only I'm taking out money. And I'll give it to you. Loan. And the moment I give you loan, I'm relaxed. Now I'll chill down. Why? Loan given, loan will come back to me with interest rate. So I gave 100, but what will come back to me? What will come back to me? 100. Oh, sorry, I gave 10, 11 rupees will come back to me. 10% interest rate. So I gave you 10 rupees, but you will give me 11 rupees. 1 rupee extra. So now in my pocket, how much money will be there after the loan is returned? It was earlier 117. From 117, I gave a loan of 10 rupees. 10 rupees given. How much received? 11 rupees received. So minus 10 because it was given. Plus 11. 118. Hey, wait, what has just happened? How is it possible? 117 became 118. What is this called as? Creation of money. Can I say money has multiplied? Yeah, money has multiplied. So can we multiply money? Yeah, keep giving loans. But make sure it comes back. Right? No, he's smiling. Your friend is smiling. He says, thank you for telling, sir. I'm leaving the class now. My job is done. This is the reason I was in the class. So, what has just happened? From the money that the bank is holding, they have just multiplied. But wait, which part of the bank's money was multiplied? Required reserve? Excess reserve. So if somebody will ask you that who gives power to the normal financial institutions like banks to multiply money, which component? Excess reserve, required reserve? Answer is excess reserve. Are you getting into the technicalities? These are technical things, super technical things. Because if somebody says bank deposits leads to multiplication of money, absolutely wrong. Bank deposit to RR is also bank deposit. It does not lead to multiplication of money. Money becomes high or money is multiplied only from one component, which is the excess reserve. Now this system that we follow, listen to it carefully, bacho. The system that, acha dekho, why did I show you this? Like a comedian. Because I wanted to tell you that whatever you see in the hand of the bank, this RR you will never see in the bank. RR is too hidden. This is like piggy bank. What do you see in a bank? ER. Whatever you see, only that can multiply. Whatever you don't see, how will that multiply? That's why you see this. This is what? Excess reserve. That's why it multiplies. And where is the required reserve? Gayab, is hidden in a piggy bank. Whatever is hidden cannot be multiplied. Whatever shows can be multiplied. The more it is visible, the more the multiplication. We will use this funda to answer super difficult UPSC questions. In fact, there is nothing called difficult UPSC questions. We'll use all the fundas. This is your excess reserve. Let me show you something more. Slowly, huh? Now see. Come back, please. So, let's go through it once more. And let me see if you are trapped in one argument. Argument is, this guy gets a salary of 200, keeps 50 rupees in hand. And what is the excess reserve that the bank has? This much, 117. And bank has the capacity to increase 117 into 118. This is called credit creation by bank. It is also called money multiplication. Now, this person when gets the salary this time, he says, now I am not going to give 150 to the bank and I will not give 50 because this is Diwali time. This is Christmas time, New Year time. Abhi to Christmas, New Year time. So he says, in Christmas, I want to go for shopping. So 200 is my salary. I'm going to keep 150 rupees in my hand. He says, I want to keep because I have to shop for my family, celebrate the New Year, etc., etc. What is he going to do? 150 rupees in his hand. How much money is he going to deposit to the bank? 50. So suppose DTL is not, DTL is 50. Right? Let's do the calculations. So if your DTL is 50, so Fatapat, can you please tell me what will be the calculations? So your salary is 200, it is 150. This is Abhi DD and TD, remove it please. DD TD job is done. We have moved to the next stage. In the next stage, we have to do something else. Focus is something else. This part, 50. So Fatapat, can you please tell me, if there is 50 rupees in his hand, what is the RR and what is the ER? Loan 0, nothing loan. So Fatapat, please tell me from this 50, what will be the CRR? 4%, guys, quickly. 2 rupees, okay, done. SLR? 9. 11 rupees is what? RR. RR, cool. And what is ER? I mean, no loan, loan is 0. So, 50 minus 11. 39. Done? Because we know a rule, total deposit is equal to RR plus ER. And that's your 11 plus 39, 50. Equation is balanced. Now see what will happen. Now, how much money this bank has to flash and show to others? 39. Only 39. So, which means that if I want to multiply money, maximum how much loan can I give to the society? 39. 39 only. So, if I give 39 and suppose I am giving at 10% rate of interest, how much money will come back to me? 39 plus 10% of 39, which is 3.9. Right. So which is 42.9 rupees will come back. But if I had given 117 rupees as loan, 117, then 117 would have gone and 117 plus 11 point something would have come to me. 10 rupees extra would have come to me. So imagine if you give 117, how much money you will get? At least 11 rupees extra. But if you are giving 39 rupees, you will get 3.9 rupees extra. So what will happen in this case? If people keep more cash in their hand, will the multiplication of money in the economy be higher or lower? Lower. There you go. There you go. Which is that credit creation will slow down during festivals. Because people will keep more cash in the hand. If suppose today we remove entire Paytm and UPI system from the economy, gone. There is nothing called UPI, there is nothing called Paytm. For buying everything, for purchasing everything, what do we need? Cash. If you need more cash, what will be the excess reserve of the bank? Will people deposit more money in the bank? Less deposit money in the bank? Less. Because if there is no Paytm, there is no UPI, public will keep more cash in the hand. And public keeping cash in the hand means banking system will get less cash. If bank gets less cash will be given out as loan. directly the loan giving capacity will be reduced. How do you give loan here? Mostly, if you keep the story simple, you give loan through one component called as ER. This helps you to give loan. And how is ER decided? ER is directly decided by how much money is deposited. So I'll tell you the equation. What decides what? So I'm trying to argue something without a formula. I'll show you formula also. But first I want to make sure that without formula, fundas are there in your mind to that extent that you can answer any question of UPSC. Then I will teach you NCERT today. I've got NCERT. But first I'll teach you without formula everything. So see, salary. So whatever is the salary, there are two components. First is total deposits in the bank, and second is cash in hand. This cash in hand, we can say currency in circulation. So whatever people keep as cash and whatever is this, total deposits. Now, this total deposit will decide something. It will decide excess reserve. This excess reserve will decide the extent of multiplication of cash. Right or wrong? Guys, I will answer all the questions towards the end. Pehle you please focus. Because in between what will happen is you'll lose out on the most important points. We'll have everything, fun and exam suffering. We don't want that. This is cash in circulation. So please focus on the message which I want to give you first. It will help you to sail through the exam without formulas. Any problem in this? Have a good look at it. Because I'll ask you questions now based on this. So what did I say? Salary. Salary is divided into two parts. Total deposit, cash in hand. Simple. Either I keep money or I deposit money. The money that I deposit in the bank based on CRR and SLR, ER is decided. And how is ER decided? ER directly depends on CRR and SLR. That decides what is ER. And ER decides what will be the multiplication of cash. This is your funda. I will ask you 2-3 questions. Fatafat you keep telling me the answer, guys. So there, cash in hand ke badle, I am drawing one caricature, which is this. So that it's easy for you to answer the question. Now please tell me, I'm just giving you a very simple demonstration. Suppose that people are holding more cash in hand. What will happen to the extent of multiplication of cash? Goes up, goes down? Brilliant. If Reserve Bank of India says, this RR plus SLR I'm calling as RR, required reserve. Please answer, guys. If RR increases, what will happen to ER? And if ER is down, multiplication of cash will increase? Decrease. Because banks have less money to give as loan. So here, we should replace the word entire thing with loan. So if the ER of the bank is low, loan will also be low. Because banks won't be able to give too much loan. And why will the ER be down? If Reserve Bank of India increases this will be down. Because total is fixed, no. This total is, from this total only, you are getting these two components. So this is your total deposit. This is divided into two parts. One is RR, this, and one is ER. This total is to fix. So suppose this total is 100. Out of this 100, if more goes here, then less will go here. Simple. Question for you. Next question. Reserve Bank of India reduced the CRR currently. Which component was reduced? RR. RR got reduced. So out of this 100, more is going here or less is going here? When less is going here, where is more coming? Here. So what will happen to the multiplication of cash? So will the banks be tempted to give more loan? 100% yes. People will have more money. So without changing repo rate, see what we have done in the economy. changed everything. And then people were criticizing Dr. Shaktikant Das that he destroyed the economy. Really? What did he do? He said, I have to increase GDP by giving more liquidity. Why should I touch repo rate? Very cleverly he handled this. What will UPSC do? Since CRR has been changed and CRR is directly connected to everything here, they will ask you this question in prelims. And UPSC will feel that they are very smart, they can outsmart you, but it will not. Because you are doing a rigorous practice. So next question. Again, UPSC is trying to be very smart. Next question for you. Dhyan suna, listen to it carefully. Now imagine, bacho, that Government of India increases the use of Paytm and says that anybody who will use Paytm will get some benefits from the Government of India, or UPI, Government of India will give the benefit. Example, if you make payments through Paytm, UPI, any digital app, Government of India says that some cashback offer will be given. So for every transaction, 1% cashback. Right. So if you do transaction through that, you will get some benefits, or government says some coupons will be given to you. Some free gifts will be given to you. What will happen because of this activity of the government? Government is trying to promote UPI. What will happen in the economy to this part? Well, you are saying that if you are tempted to use more Paytm, blah, blah, all these things, almost every payment will be through online digital mode. So since payments are through digital mode, what will people do? Hold more cash in hand or deposit more money in bank? Deposit more money in bank. When more money comes here, this is to fix 4%, 18%, it does not change. What will increase? ER. ER will increase. And the moment ER increases, increased availability of cash. What am I asking you? It's a previous UPSC questions I'm asking you. यही तो है UPSC question. These are all previous UPSC questions. I'll show you the questions. Next question. UPSC. Let's have fun with UPSC. Very rarely we do get opportunity to have fun with UPSC. Next question for fun. UPSC asked a question that if, have a look at the board, if currency deposit ratio, CDR, increases, what will be its effect on the availability of money in the economy? Now let's see how to argue first. Answers are not important for me, argument is important. So currency deposit ratio is high, which means in the numerator and denominator, what is high? Numerator. Because see, this ratio is high, no? So when is this ratio high? When the numerator is high, which means people are holding more cash in hand. So when you hold more cash in hand, you deposit more in the bank or less in the bank? Brilliant. You deposit less in the bank. Achha, when you deposit less in the bank, matlab you got your salary, but CDR is high, matlab currency deposit ratio. What is CDR? C by DD. So what happened here? CDR, C by DD. I am saying this is high. When is this high? When this is high and this is low. Right? So, but we are saying this is high, which means we will interpret it by saying that people have higher tendency of holding cash. This is how we interpret it. Whenever we say this ratio is called behavioral ratio. I'll dictate you all these things. Don't worry. Abhi to warm up. How do you interpret this ratio? The moment somebody tells you that, hey, you know, currency deposit ratio is very high, don't look for maths there. Because this is not a mathematical ratio. In economics and in banking, they call it as behavioral ratio, which means it is decided not by mathematics. We represent it by maths, but it is decided by behavior and psychology. So whenever there are some ratios which are mathematical, it's not decided by behavior. Fixed to fixed, just as CRR, 4%, fixed. It's not behavioral. It depends on numbers, how much money moving in the economy, what is the inflation, blah, blah. This is behavioral. So if you give me salary, how much money will I hold in hand? Mathematics will not decide it. My behavior will decide. And whatever I will decide, that can be represented in the form of maths. So these are behavioral ratio. So if somebody says that CDR, currency deposit ratio, is high, the interpretation is different. The interpretation is, oh, that means that people's behavior have changed. Now people want to hold more cash. That's the interpretation. And when you want to hold more cash, what will happen here? When you want to hold more cash, cash in hand will increase. Total money to salary is fixed. This will increase, this will come down. And when this comes down, this is fixed, but this is low. Less money available with the banks. Because people are holding more cash, they are giving less to the bank. When you give less to the bank, how will the bank give loan? Simple. I am holding more cash in my hand. I am giving less to the bank. Bank will give less to people. So the availability of money or money multiplication, that process will slow down. When do we observe this? We observe this scenario under festival time. Especially during festival time, people spend more. Number two, during COVID, what happened is when there was a rumor, and these are the questions that UPSC asked. During COVID time, there was a rumor that lockdown will be there. Everybody became crazy and said, okay, for 3 months, we are going to stock all the grocery and everything. Everybody withdrew money and they jumped to the grocery store, including your faculty. Right. Entire economics and the degrees I have learned. Do hell with that. Who cares? Entire theory gone. Everybody jumped. There were 2 lines during COVID in India. One line was for grocery. The second line was that. Nahi, ATM nahi. Nahi, it was for different thing. Yeah. Right. So something very funny happened. I'll tell you what happened. So there was this big queue in front of my house. So nearby that, I realized that there is nothing special nearby my house. Why are people standing in the queue? Achha, we have this habit in Delhi. Whenever we see that there is a long queue, etc., we simply start to distribute food and water. We became emotional. We said people are standing in heat, etc., hot sun, temperature. We started to ask people that, do you want to sit? Some senior citizens were there. We thought we'll give them chair also. But we started to behave like NGOs. Chalo, help them. Later on, when you start walking down the line in the queue, realize where does that end? Where is it starting? Then you go, my God, it's a liquor shop. It is a 2-kilometer line. And we are doing, it was such an embarrassment. I could not even click any selfie there. What will I tell people? What was I doing? Indirectly promoting these things. I mean, unbelievable. After that, I controlled myself. I said, unless I check what is the source of the queue, from where it is originating, no distribution of water, no chair, no food, nothing. And when we used to ask those people that, are you okay? I mean, you look troubled. They say, no, it's fine. To achieve something, one has to sacrifice something. Right. So, grocery line was half kilometer. The other line was 3 kilometers. He's saying, yes, sir. Look at him. You meet me after the class. You won't run away before the class ends. He needs a special counsel. Your friend is saying, yes, sir. You understand why. So, come back, guys. So, these are the UPSC type question. Let me ask you the question. During COVID time, when there was a lockdown, because crisis happened, people had a tendency to hold cash in the hand. When you have a tendency to hold a lot of cash in the hand, what will happen to the availability of money or multiplication of money in the economy? Please answer. Decrease. Because there is panic. In panic, what happens? Everybody withdraws the fund from ATM. Withdraw the fund. So if UPSC will give you any of these scenarios, will you be able to argue? Using basic, I'll show you the UPSC questions also. In fact, we have already discussed it without telling you. But, and in fact, we have discussed more also. Let me tell you another thing. Suppose that we get a news that India is going to participate in the war between Russia and Ukraine. Direct participation in the war. What will be the reaction? You and I. Put the money in the bank or withdraw cash? That is called panic withdrawal. And when everybody goes to the bank to withdraw cash, that is called as bank run. Bank run. You are running to the bank. So it's called as bank run. So imagine, bacho, bank run happens. And when will a bank run happen? When there is some crisis-like situation in the economy. So bank run has happened. Which ratio will increase? CDR. Currency deposit ratio will increase. And the moment we withdraw more currency, extent of multiplication will come down. Okay, that's how it is. Second ratio. Let's come to second ratio, guys. And this is the final ratio. Iske baad will become technical. Why are we discussing it without any formula? Why are we not using any big formula of money multiplication? And without that also we are arguing why. Reason being that this is UPSC. We have to crack the exam. We don't have to show off to somebody that we are high funda people, we know this, etc. No. Simple argument, you can easily answer the question. But why will I teach you NCERT? Just to show you that how simple things can be complicated. And so that you will also know what is there in the NCERT. Because I made a promise when I started the batch that I will teach NCERT also. I have to teach NCERT. But I'm trying to make the life easy by not teaching first NCERT, first basics using the study approach. And this will help you to solve question. It is not possible that you will give any wrong answer. Through this, every answer can be corrected. Then I will show you complications. That what has NCERT done with page numbers. Let's come back. What is this? Let us do a surgery on this to become a pro. So this is called reserve deposit ratio. The meaning of reserve deposit ratio is bank reserve upon total deposit. The meaning of this is, here देखो क्या लिखा है, what is written? Part of the deposit not given as loan to public. Which means whenever you deposit money in the bank, listen to it carefully बच्चों, whenever you deposit money in the bank, one part of the money is your reserve, required reserve, and one part is excess reserve. When you combine these two, it is called as bank reserve or simply reserve. That's what we are saying. So if UPSC will ask you questions, see, this question has been asked in UPSC. If UPSC will ask you a question, simple, that if, बहुत ध्यान सुना बच्चों, if the bank reserve or total reserve, this is total reserve, you want to call it total reserve or bank reserve, whatever. If this total reserve comes down, what will happen to the creation of money? If this total reserve comes down, when will the total reserve come down? Total reserve will come down when, look at the relation, total reserve will come down when CDR will increase, well, people are holding more cash, then this RDR will come down because people will deposit less. When you get salary, either you hold here or you give money to the bank. If you hold more money, less money with the bank. So if you could predict this behavior that whenever this increases, your money supply will come down. Matlab the creation, multiplication of money will come down there. If this increases, people are holding more cash, then to on this side, we were discussing that how much money will multiply. Money will not multiply because people are holding more cash. This is opposite. So if this goes down, the problem will be banks have less reserves, very less reserve. And when you say less reserve, there are two components. One is CRR SLR and one is ER. So when you say total reserve is down, when will that total reserve be down? When less money is coming in the banking system. So whenever total reserves are down, the capacity of the bank to give loan goes down. So this is one of the ways of answering question. So if UPSC will ask you, listen to it carefully, bacho. If UPSC will ask you a question that beta, this is a company. This company has given salary to these people. People do two things with their salary. CDR and RDR. Very informal way of writing. CDR means cash in hand is more. And what is this? Cash in the bank is more. Salary will go either this place or this place. Listen to it very carefully, bacho. So if UPSC will ask you this question, beta tell us, if this increases, what will be the capacity of the bank to multiply cash? Low. Where people are holding more cash, less money will go. And if people are holding more cash naturally, this will be low. Because more, see, what is this? This is the reserve, total reserve. So if this is high, this has to be low. And if this is low, this money into rupee will be low. That's one way of looking at it. Logically. Let's break it down a little bit. Let's go to the level at which UPSC asks the question. UPSC has not asked this type of question. But I told you this so that if UPSC gives you this type of question and says that beta, if cash in hand increases, what will happen to the bank? Seedha aap bol sakte ho. You can clearly say, acha, this is increasing, less money will go. Obviously, money multiplication will come down. Second question asked by UPSC, little deadly question. UPSC says, careful, UPSC says, if the required reserve goes down, This question has been asked by UPSC multiple times. Required reserve goes down. What happens to the multiplication of cash in the economy? Increases. Increases. Now in India, we follow a system called as fractional reserve system. What is the meaning of fractional reserve system? And this question has been already asked in a different way. Fractional reserve system, FRS. The meaning of fractional reserve system is whenever you give money to the bank has to give a small part as required reserve and remaining part bank gives as excess reserve. So whatever be the total money, like total is let's say 50. Total 50 rupees came here, from public 50 rupees came. A part of it is this, a part of it is that, which means a fraction of this becomes the required reserve. This component is called fractional reserve system. But did you notice the word fractional reserve system, not fractional required reserve system? Okay, so there we go. So whenever the word reserve is used in general, so by default they are trying to say reserve means required reserve. Because the name of the system is fractional reserve system. It is not fractional required reserve system. So now there is a rule globally that something is called as fractional reserve system, which says whatever be the deposits in the bank, a part of it will become required reserve, remaining part is excess reserve. So it is called as fractional reserve system, and the interpretation of fractional reserve system is whenever a bank gets cash, a part of it has to become required reserve, whatever is remaining is excess reserve. So in UPSC, whenever they give you questions, I'll show you many type of questions here. So but today, concept building. Whenever you very soon we'll do the question, because we are about to get over this money wala part. So whenever UPSC will give you a question where you are clueless, what are they asking? So you have to interpret the word reserve with required reserves. If the UPSC question is very explicitly saying that the reserve in the bank is used in how many ways, then they are talking about two reserve, required reserve, excess reserve. But if they are using the word reserve, no hint, nothing is given. This can be understood only through MCQ. Nothing is given and you are confused. So whenever confused, reserve is required reserve. Otherwise, if it is clear to you that they're talking about two things, then there is no problem. But whenever they are simply asking you a question, suppose you are walking on the road and somebody says, beta, reserve of the bank has, or reserve in the India's banking system has increased. Required reserve. Simple. Required reserve. By default, you use the word reserve for required reserve. So if you don't follow this rule, then you won't be able to answer questions. Because we have to know the international rule and by default. Just say, hey, you know, inflation has increased. Which inflation? CPI headline. Even if you are standing in a wholesale mandi and you are talking amongst yourself that, oh, we are in Chandni Chowk, we are in Daryaganj, we are in Azadpur wholesale mandi, Karol Bagh wholesale mandi, you are standing in the wholesale market, no retail. And you are talking amongst yourself. Suppose some of you from the module went there in the market and you are saying, you know, inflation has increased. Which inflation are you talking about? Despite the fact that you are standing in a wholesale market, you are talking about CPI headline. Are you understanding this? Some conventions. Why conventions are created? So that across the world, there is no dispute whenever somebody makes a statement. That's why these conventions are created. So, come back. Either though it is explicitly mentioned, which reserve are they talking about? If they are not talking about that reserve, the moment they say reserve has increased, immediately we'll say, okay, the RR has increased. Not a good news. But because we interpret normal word reserve with required reserve. So now I ask you a question. Suppose that in the economy, CDR increases. CDR, cash deposit ratio increases. What will happen to the multiplication of cash in the economy? People are holding more cash. Multiplication of cash will be low. There you go. Next question. Be careful. I'm just going to make one statement. Reserves are low. So what will happen to multiplication of cash? Nothing else. Brilliant. Because I gave you the interpretation. Whenever somebody says reserves are low, interpret it like that. That is how the international interpretation is. Unless I give you more information, you can't change the interpretation. International convention. Jaise, I tell you that, hey, inflation is 6%. Whether you want to use WPI, CPI really doesn't matter. Because the moment you said inflation, by default it is CPI headline. In fact, in CPI also you cannot use anything else because that's the convention, official convention. So the official convention is either you specify which reserve are you talking about specifically, and the moment you don't specify, फिर we'll take it as required reserve. This is how we interpret. Now let's come back. So I gave you two things. I'm going to write it. आप मुझे बताना if I'm making a mistake or saying the right things. Suppose this is Indian economy, and I'm saying that cash in hand, literature, cash in hand has increased. In fact, let me do the opposite. Cash in hand has reduced. What will happen to multiplication of money? Reserve requirement is down. What will happen to multiplication of money? Brilliant. All okay so far? Let me make it slightly complex, because iske baad we'll enter the NCERT part. How do you represent this symbolically, mathematically? I have told you one ratio. Either capital C, two things are there. Either capital C or CDR. So I'll either write this or CDR, anything I feel like. But I told you that this CDR itself is derived from here. This is a behavioral ratio. And this is not a ratio, absolute number. This is also behavioral. So behavioral number gives behavioral ratio. Okay, fine. And I told you how to interpret this. Required reserve, which is that only ratio which I have given you, which is related to required reserve, etc. Only ratio, RDR. RDR. Who decides ER? There are two types. So reserve is of two types, RR plus ER. Who decides who? Decides ER. So instead of saying that this whole thing comprises of two things, I will say RDR depends upon right or wrong. Bata do, right or wrong? Absolutely right. Because we are not writing equal to. Equal to would be a disaster. Mathematical and CSAT disaster. My whole MBA degree can be taken back if I write it like this. If my professors see this, no, degree cancelled. Then I will start to teach you biology. Ho raha aajkal. Come on, a doctor can teach economics. I can teach biology also. Not saying anything. Come back. So, RDR is directly proportional to RR. Right? So, what shall I write here? RDR. Done. Now, let's do the magic part. Let's do some calculations. I mean, just basic idea, no names taken. So if CDR is low, what will happen to the multiplication of cash? If RDR is down, matlab CRR etc. is down, what happens to money multiplication? Increased. Can you answer questions now in the exam? Now see, let's come back and do the main thing. Abhi don't write, because see, dictation has to be very smooth. Dictation cannot be haphazard based on whatever we feel like, because if I start to give you this type of layman dictation, no, it will be absolutely useless for exam. So dictation will be very different, and that level we will reach only when we do NCERT actually. So let me do the NCERT part. Then when the dictation will start, you will see, okay, technicality is directly reflecting in the dictation. So let's come to NCERTs. And here is your first one. So what is the title you will give? Please write. This is your title for today. First title, high powered money. Write it please. First mathematical, later on literature dictation. First maths. High powered money and money multiplier. But I'm really happy to see one thing, that you guys are comfortable with this quant part also, because you are easily digesting it. So that's why I have the courage to teach you this. No, but I told you that don't interpret it mathematically. Behavioral. Already made it clear. Because the moment you bring maths with, these ratios can't be compared because denominator is different. Behavioral. In behavioral ratio, what happens is we don't take the maths first, we take the interpretation first, then we represent it in the form of the closest formula. But in mathematical ratios, first we write the formula, then we give the interpretation. In behavioral ratios, that is called behavioral economics, we first give the interpretation, then we see what is the closest formula or numbers or symbols that we can write. And what is the meaning of fractional reserve? The meaning of fractional reserve is, listen to it carefully, very simple. The meaning of fractional reserve is, I am a bank, you guys deposited 120 rupees. Dekho, 120 rupees in the bank. Now I'm the bank, what will I do? I'll take 20 rupees, give it to RBI. Matlab, piggy bank, and I'll put it in the piggy bank. I'll say, RBI, that's your required reserve. So a fraction of the money which I got, what is that fraction? 4% plus 18%, locked. Fractional reserve. So this reserve is a fraction of the money which I got is called as reserve. So it's gone. Now whatever is remaining with me is called excess. So fractional reserve system means whenever money goes to a bank, a small part of it, which RBI decides, goes in the form of reserve, and it is locked fund. So this locked fund is fractional reserve. Come back, please. But there is one good thing I have seen. So most of the time when I see you guys get stuck, you stuck in literature, but in mathematical part and all these symbols, I never see you guys getting stuck. You are more comfortable with CSAT, which is a good news, because next part you'll understand very easily. You'll just love the next part. See, did you give the title? Whatever, please write. Draw this symbol, please, for future. Yes, Harshita, correct. Please draw these symbols. RBI, then write H. This is not from NCERT, this is my jugaad. We'll come to NCERT in a minute. RBI H, then write C. C is currency in hand. SDFC, you put D. D means deposit. Deposit can be divided only into two parts. Required reserve, excess reserve. Two parts. And whole thing I'm calling as reserves. But whenever we use the word reserve, we would mean this part. Required reserve. Why? Because required reserve decides excess reserve. So literally this is the main thing. Right? Let's say I'll give an example. Suppose that somebody says, the performance of Vajiram has been good this year. Whose performance? My performance. The building's performance. Students' performance. Because Vajiram matlab students. Take away the students from the building, there is no meaning of the building. Brick and stone doesn't mean anything. Similarly, if all my students go in a garden with me and you study in the garden, then we will say performance of the garden is very good. Matlab, which garden? Students in the garden. Yeah, seriously. Actually, everything has a soul. So the soul of this entire deposit is this, required reserve. So that's why H is equal to C plus R. All fine? Chalo, now let's come back and let's do this. Ye dekhiye. That's your NCERT. I have given page number also, page number 43. Just to tell you that, okay, this is NCERT. Figure 3.2, page number 43. Let me explain what this figure is. Up to this is cakewalk for you. See this, guys. Try to be with me. I'll give you the dictations on this. I'll ask you to write all this. Now check and tell me if it makes sense. These are all behavioral. This is not hardcore cat wala maths because there is a lot of behavioral. So H is equal to currency plus reserve. And by currency, we mean currency people are holding in hand. And by reserve, we are writing two components, but we call it reserves. What is this? Total liability of RBI. Why is it total liability of RBI? There you go. Who released this currency for the first time in the economy? RBI. And when RBI releases the currency, RBI tells everyone, if you look at a currency note, if you are having it, you will see that there is something written. It is written that I promise to pay the bearer the sum of 100 rupees. It is written there. Why do they need to write a promise? Why do you need to send a text message to a person every day that you mean the world to me? Other than parents, we also send it to other 5-6 people. Right? So you mean the world to me, you mean the world to me. Why? Because you want to make sure that the person knows that you have their back. You mean the world to me, matlab, whenever you are in trouble, whatever happens, I'll be there for you. Yeah, we keep on reassuring them. We keep on reassuring, yes. So what does Government of India reassure us all the time through currency note? Don't worry, have faith. I promise. And then there is a signature. It's a legal contract. The moment you take a piece of paper and put a signature and you say, I promise, that's a legal contract, enforceable in the court of law. So now you have just said, Government of India has just said, I promise to pay the bearer. If you hold this currency, which RBI just released, so who has released this currency? RBI has released the currency, and RBI has released the currency in the economy. Money is floating everywhere. Why are these people holding this money? Because behind this, there is RBI who says, if you bring this money back, I'll give you something equivalent of this. I promise this. If not this, anything, gold or whatever it is, but I'll do something for you. Because if this money is destroyed also, even if you tear it apart and take it to RBI, still you get some value. So try doing that. I have seen it. It happens. So I lost one currency, one part here, etc. So I took it to bank branch. They said, sir, we'll deduct some value, but we'll give you some money. I said, why? Because a loss for the Government of India. They said, it's not about loss, it's about a promise. This is how we maintain the confidence in the society. I said, oh. So whenever, guys, focus on this part. Whenever you, let me tell you something very funny. When you talk to RBI, that beta RBI, tell us one thing. You are printing currency notes worth 1 trillion. And you are writing promise to everyone. You are calling everybody, guys. In the morning, you wake up and call 20 people and say, I care for you. Imagine all the 20 people calling you at the same time and saying, we need you. What will happen? Where is Rajan? Rajan, what will happen? PMC, what will happen? Manu, tell me what will happen? SP, what will happen? Disaster. End of the world. 20 people you are writing a message that I care for you, and all the 20 people are saying, come care for me. Finished. Bank run. You understand the problem? So RBI governor is writing on the currency note, I promise to pay the bearer the sum equivalent of this money. Okay, fine. I feel India is going to participate in a war. All of us will take the currency, run to the bank and say, take the money, give gold. Or give whatever. Gold, diamond. Make me the president. Padma Awards. Kuch bhi. Right? So what will happen? Problems. But why am I saying all this? Zarurat kya hai? Why am I saying even all these things? Because I told you that currency is printed at the back of some metal like gold, etc. So there should be no problem. Yeah, there is a problem. From 1957, the method has changed. From 1957, what is happening in India, across the world, everywhere, I'll tell you. So what these central banks do is, since 1940, look at this one, funny part. So earlier, what used to happen was, and you please don't worry about dictations at all, because you understand that you will get enough of dictation. But first, understanding has to be top-notch. So what was the system earlier? All the central banks used to take gold. They used to keep some costly currency, dollars, blah, 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 all these things. This used to be their asset. Because gold used to be the, diamond used to be, this dollar used to be the benchmark, and gold used to be very precious. They used to keep precious things in the box. And on the basis of that, they used to release currency and print currency. Whatever currency they felt like they printed. But then what happened is 1957, they realized economy is expanding, amount of gold is limited, and how can you take somebody else's currency like dollar and keep it? Because tomorrow if that country becomes irritated with this, that everybody is keeping my dollar, what will that country do? USA change its currency. That would be a problem. They will stop printing. Then you will have to take it out because you have to trade in dollars. And if US stops printing currency, whatever you are holding, you have to release it. It's not a very safe thing to do. So across the world, they realize that we are making promise to public that if you bring your currency, I will give you something from here. If that something is not available, then? So then they changed the system and they said, no, we are not going to do that. So India said, I will keep just 200 crore rupees here. Some in the form of gold, some in the form of cash. I'm just going to keep 200 crore rupees in this box. And on the basis of this, I will print infinite currency with a promise. Listen to this carefully. Infinite currency with a promise that if you want to return the money, I will compensate you. Since we have not said how we will compensate, it can be in the form of diamond, it can be in the form of gold or whatever we feel like. If nothing else, we can give you building, land, property, whatever it is. I will compensate you. Who is I? Government of India. RBI matlab Government of India. So earlier the promise was, I will give you gold, I'll give you dollar. Now the promise is, I have 200 crore worth of money. I'll tell you the reason of 200 crore. I have 200 crore worth of something as safety net. On the basis of that infinite currency, I'm going to print. What is the assumption here? That situation will never arise. And we will make sure it doesn't arise. Before that, we will intervene. That everybody comes back and says, return my money. Take the money and give me something. So they are saying that we are assuming that bank run will not be there, number one. That's why you will see that India will never become a free market economy. India will always have some sort of presence of government agencies and RBI as regulator. In that sense, we will be a free market. But free market with checks and balances. So fundamental rights will be universal, subject to reasonable restriction. So the word reasonable restriction and government intervention will never go away from India. Because the moment it goes away, then this system has to be changed and you have to put gold. So that, and you have to give a proof to people that this currency is being issued on the basis of gold. But what is RBI doing? What is government doing? They are saying we have kept a token money, 200. So that if people run also, they come also, we'll tell them, Dekho, we have something. But if more people will come, something is drastically wrong. For those eventualities, don't worry, government has properties. And the value of government properties is worth trillions and trillions. So that's not an issue. So many assets are there. We'll give you airport. They have to have, we have given airports to some people. You'll also get one airport. So Bangalore, if I get a chance, I'll take Terminal 2 Bangalore Airport. Because I know that the roof is not going to come down anytime soon. It's new. It will take 2-3 years before the roof falls off. For 3 years, I'll take it. Uske I'll go to Guwahati Airport. Reconstruction has started. So agenda is fixed. So what is the government doing? These days RBI says token money with a promise. So whenever you reduce something, Bacho, what did I tell you? Whenever you reduce the money here, there is no gold. So when you release currency, then you make a promise. Remember debenture. So that's a promise. Don't say that currency is debenture. And don't be emotional. So it's a promise. With promise, you are releasing cash. But then to buy, whenever we have problem, release cash. No, then there is Monetary Policy Committee, which says that beta inflation and GDP. So whenever you are trying to increase the size of this, it has an upper bound by this. What is the meaning of that? I'll tell you. So suppose this is RBI. What did RBI do? RBI has kept a box called as 200 crore rupees. On the basis of that, here dekho bachcho, this is your MPC, Monetary Policy Committee, which says inflation should be 4 plus minus 2% and GDP should be high. That's your MPC. Now RBI says, I will print currency. Take a print currency, rupee, rupee, rupee. And when you print currency, always use the word promise. So to what extent can you increase the size of this circle? See? Let's see the maximum it can go. And done. So the word infinite is also not infinite. Because there is an outer boundary called as Monetary Policy Committee. Checks and balances. So if somebody says, no, but infinite currency will be printed, economy will be destroyed. Who told you? Monetary Policy Committee, what is it doing? Because same agency is doing Monetary Policy Committee also, and same agency is printing money also. Same person, RBI governor does both the things. And they have already said that Monetary Policy Committee decides the outer boundary. So how can printing of currency be infinite practically? Not possible. So whenever you say infinite, I'll give an example. I was in college, I remember, and at that time there used to be one scheme by some companies, not college, I think I was in school when that scheme came. You know, what do they call it? Lifetime SIM or something. You know, talk to your friends, lifetime SIM. 2 numbers used to be given. Don't ask me why did I take the number. But you could take 2 SIM cards from the same company and you could just keep on talking. And they said that it's free between these 2 numbers. And they said the validity of the SIM is lifetime. So I was also very excited. I went to one of the stores. I remember at that time there was Reliance Infocom. So I went there, Vodafone also. It was Hutch. So Hutch, Vodafone, I mean, long time back, Stone Age. So I went to Reliance and I said, I also want lifetime SIM. I thought that literally that validity of lifetime is lifetime. Then I asked them, what is the validity? They said 8 years. I said, packet pe to it is written lifetime. They said, sir, read the star, font size 2. So below the packet it was written lifetime is equal to 8 years. My lifetime is decided by Reliance. They will create such products that I won't survive after 8 years. What is the company doing? Obviously the company got bankrupt. If you do such a thing, this will happen to you only. I mean, come on. Right? I literally took it. Like if you take the behavioral ratios as mathematical formula, this will happen. I literally took it as lifetime problem. And then I told the other party, lifetime matlab 8 years. After that, end of story. Everything will be over. Come back here. Don't ask me more details. So what is the infinite cash? Infinite cash means Monetary Policy Committee. That's it. End of story. So which is everything has a boundary. We pretend that everything is infinite. Nothing is infinite. There was this nice magazine in USA which is published in USA. I think it's related to science only. They call it as Science World or something. So there was one special edition recently where they said, what is the boundary of space? Is space infinite? And articles after articles were published. And one of the person who wrote the article, beautiful thing he wrote. He said, shall assume that, look at this argument. I was lost in the argument. He said that printing of currency only, let us use printing of currency. So this is space. So suppose that galaxy has a outer limit. Okay, then you will have next galaxy. You will have next galaxy. Then you will have galaxy ka bhi, superset, something super galaxy. Then you will have a super galaxy. Then he started to say, where will this set? Suppose you name it. You call it, example, you call it cosmos. That this is the outer boundary. But this must be hanging in something. What is that something? I got lost. So I couldn't even imagine. And they say that wherever your imagination stops, your calculation will also stop there. You can't calculate what you can't imagine. Einstein said this. Einstein said, whatever you can imagine, you can calculate. So he said, it's easy to calculate a distance till you can imagine. A beautiful addition. So it's amazing, to imagine this. So your friend is saying, you triggered my childhood questions. So what is this currency? So this is 10 rupees, 100 rupees, 500, 2000. Yahan pe who is sitting? Demonetization. 8 p.m. 8 November 16th. So government is also there. 8 November 16, 2016. So government is also sitting there. Always remember, 8 November, 8 p.m. Right. 8 p.m. PM is important. So we are talking about maths. Whose birthday? Oh, wish you a very happy demonetization birthday. Right. Kidding. So You also? Acha, dengue. You are celebrating dengue every year. Why would you do that? He's so innocent. So come back here. So there is 10 rupee, 20 rupees, 100, 500. Can you print infinite currency? No. What is the outer boundary? Monetary Policy Committee. So this inflation targeting and GDP. You are having food with your friends. But how did you pay for it? Demonetization. Come back here. So guys, my limited point made. So what was I trying to tell you? We were here. Let's come back. Yes, sir, whatever I'm telling you, all these you'll have to write in the form of a dictation. So keep this in mind that there is nothing called infinite cash. There is a boundary called MPC. There is a boundary called GDP. GDP cannot be compromised and inflation cannot happen. Within that boundary, you can print currency. And why does RBI say, I promise to pay the bearer? Because RBI says that I'm not keeping gold, a lot of gold, only 200 crore worth of things. So I have to make a promise to assure people that don't worry, I'm there for you. What is the name of this type of currency where a promise is made and everybody knows that this promise is not backed by gold? There's a name of this type of currency. It is called as fiat currency. Absolutely PMC, correct. Fiat currency or legal tender. What is the meaning of fiat currency or legal tender? So there is a currency where there is a promise. And everybody knows that this promise is not fully backed by any asset. Promise is sovereign in nature, which means if anything wrong goes, I will compensate. But the box on the basis of which it is issued is not sufficient, which means the value is not of the box here. This is to just token. The value is of this promise. And who is giving the promise? Authorities are giving the promise. So whenever there is a currency which is issued without proper backup, without any collateral, but it is issued on the basis of legality. Now you cannot reject the currency. You cannot, if somebody brings a currency to you and says, sir, can you give coffee? I'll give you currency. The moment you say no, a case can be filed against you. And how did you say that you will not accept this? It's legal. Government of India has said it is legal. So that's why it is called legal tender and it is called fiat because there is a government promise behind it. Without any collateral also this promise holds true because this is a sovereign promise. So this type of currency is called fiat currency. Now there is another type of money which is used by public. That money is not strictly money, but it is very close substitute of money. I'll give an example. So suppose I wrote a check and you are the supplier of this pen. And I told you that you give me the pen, you take the check. You will say, do you have currency? I'll say, no, I have check. So I write a check for you. If you trust me, you'll accept the check. Because you know that if the check amount is huge, and if I give you the check, it will take you 1 or 2 hours or some minutes to encash the check. You'll go to the bank branch, etc. So in that time, I'll take my private jet and go to London. So it really depends whether you trust me or not and I trust you or not. So if we trust each other and I give you a check and you give me this digital pen, I give you check. That check also behaves like money, close substitute of money. That is called as fiduciary money. So there are two types of things. I'll give you dictations on all this. What did I tell you first? There is legal tender or fiat currency where governor is signing. But there is something else which is close substitute of money, like demand draft, like check, which is not money, but close substitute. But this has to be exchanged on the basis of trust. So when two parties exchange something on the basis of trust, which is substitute of money, that something is called as fiduciary money. So that's not money, but that gives you an illusion that it's money and it is exchanged on the basis of trust. So a piece of paper can act like a fiduciary money if we both trust each other on that piece of paper. So that is your check and demand draft. So that's why they say there are two types of currencies. But did you understand why this concept of fiat currency came? The concept of fiat currency came because we don't have any collateral there. So to substitute for collateral, a promise is made. And then we tell everybody honestly that we have nothing other than promise. Promises are all that I can give. समझ रहे हो आप? उसके बाद तो time will tell. So that's why RBI needs to make sure that promises are honored. Let's come back now. We have had a nice discussion about this. What is total liability of RBI? That's what I told you. Suppose I am RBI. Now think about it. I know that I can print fiat money. I have printed entire fiat money and I have put over there, I promise to pay the bearer when you come back. And then I put the entire money in this box and I release it. Who takes this money? Either public or banks. This money is moving in the economy, public or bank. Now all of a sudden everybody decides, return the money to RBI. When they come to me, I'll have to accept it. So whenever RBI prints currency and releases, does it become the liability of RBI? 100% yes. 100% yes. That's your liability. Because first you have to accept, and second, what is the liability? Anything which directly does not give you any income is your liability in banking. So if you use two definitions, first you have to take it back if people come, and second, whenever RBI release currency, is RBI earning rate of interest on this? No. They printed and released. So directly no income generation. So that's why this is the total liability of RBI. It is also called base money. Why is it called base money? Bacho, be very careful about it, because now you are entering the technical part of NCERT. I'm teaching you NCERT now. My techniques are over. The Jugaad techniques are over. This is NCERT. You will get the same result which I gave you half an hour back, but in a twisted way. So see what NCERT says. NCERT says this is total liability of RBI. I showed you why, because if people go back, if bank goes back to RBI, RBI has to take it back. And then it is saying it is base money. Why is it base money? Simple, careful. When RBI releases cash, let me show you this. Why is it base money? See, this is RBI. RBI has released H. H goes to C and H goes to this. A part of this H only went to the bank. No. What will the bank do? Bank will do something like required reserve and something like excess reserve. This excess reserve will multiply. So can we say that this H became a base for this multiplication? Yeah. So that is why it is called as base money. So because it is the base. This H is also called as high powered money, because this money which RBI has printed has the power that in future, if it reaches here, it can multiply itself. So who gives power to this money, H, that it can multiply itself? That power is given by RBI. Under which system? That power is given to it under fractional reserve system. Why? Because when this H reaches here, RBI says, beta bank, this is D, deposit. I will just take 4% plus 18% from you. I'm not going to take entire money from you. So RBI says, I'm kind enough. I release the money. I need something back. But what is back? Just 4 plus 18. And remaining part you have got as excess reserve. So I am letting you use this so that you can multiply. So if somebody will tell you, tell me in one line, how does this high powered money derives its high power? It derives its high power through fractional reserve system, whereby whatever money comes to the bank, entire money doesn't go to RBI. Some money goes to RBI in the form of 4 plus 18, but remaining money becomes excess reserve. If India does not follow fractional reserve system but full reserve system, then whatever money comes to the bank will go to RBI. Full reserve system. But it is fractional reserve system. So a fraction of the money goes to RBI, remaining goes to multiplication process. So what is high? Yes. So what is high powered money? The high powered money is this money which RBI released. What gives power to this? That it can multiply the fractional reserve system here. It says little bit go there, little bit go there. So this is how the money will multiply. But how did it multiply? Because RBI has decided only 4 plus 18 will go there. Hence it is called base money, because it forms the basis of this multiplication. So this dictation I'll provide you, that what is high powered, how does it derives its high poweredness, these statements we have to write. But first we have to understand. Let's come back. So that's your first part. Second part. I remember that almost like 25 lectures back, one of you asked me online that what is money supply? And continuously you asked me for 3 lectures. And I kept telling you that a day will come That day has come. Look at this. And now you will also know why it was not possible to give the answer 25 lectures back. Look at this M. What is this M? So suppose that I am the RBI governor. I want to know how much money is there in my economy, or how much money supply is there in my economy, which either is moving very fast or it can move very fast anytime without me doing anything. It will keep moving. And it will move so fast that it can lead to inflation. So what is that money which is freely available in the economy? Either it is already moving, it is exchanging hands, मतलब I am going to a grocery store buying a bread and paying money, or it is somewhere from where it can easily jump in the market. So there are only two types of such money which is there. Either money in the pocket of the society, right MK? Either money in the pocket of the society, people, or demand deposit. Or demand deposit. So currency means currency in hand or circulation, whatever you want to call it. And number two, demand deposit. These are the two things which are considered to be highly liquid. So highly liquid that either it is already moving or it can move anytime. So we say that this is the best definition of money supply, because the word is supply. So which money has the power to supply itself without restriction? Either the money that you have in hand or the money you have in savings account, in general speaking. So this is C plus DD. So it is called as most liquid definition of money supply. So if somebody will tell you that, hey, you know, money supply has increased in the economy, close your eyes and simply recall money supply ka best definition is, I'm not saying ideal definition, but the best definition is currency that is there in my hand, 20 rupees, or this money which is in my savings account. I can go to ATM, withdraw the money and use. This is the best that I have. So at any given point of time, if RBI wants to know what is money supply, they'll just add two things. Currency that is moving in the economy and all the demand deposits in the bank, they will add it and they will say that's your money supply. Are you getting it? So two formulas you have to memorize. First, high powered money. What is high powered money? C, currency in people's hand plus reserves. And what is money supply? This is money, best definition of money supply. Currency plus demand deposit. This is your NCERT, page number 43. Now let's come to the next part. What did I tell you today? I told you something. And see what NCERT does. NCERT has also written beautiful things. So what did I tell you? That this high-powered money is called base money, and it has the power that when it comes to banking system, because it is divided into two parts, C and D, deposits. When it comes to banking system, because of fractional reserve system, FRS, little bit goes to RBI back or it is blocked. But this ER happens, excess reserve happens because our fractional reserve system is just 4 plus 18%. Remaining part is here. So this component called as fractional reserve system gives the power to H that go and multiply yourself, which means we are interested in knowing, be careful, we are interested in knowing that if RBI prints 100 new currency notes, so suppose this H is 100, listen to it carefully. So if RBI prints, let's do it here. If RBI prints H is equal to 100 new currency notes, we want to know, this is bank. So this bank will give something as required reserve and this is excess reserve. This excess reserve will become money multiplier. So we want to know that if H increases by 100, what will be the increase here in the multiplication of money? How much faster the money will multiply in the economy? Who will decide that? It will be decided by two ratios. So whenever RBI prints money, it is decided by two ratios, absolutely correct. One ratio is C. Well, how much money people keep in hand? Because this H is divided into three parts. One is C and one is this. This is the banking money. This is D. So H is equal to C plus D. And who decides C? CDR. Behavioral ratio. How much cash will I hold? Behavior. And who decides how much money will go there? RDR. So basically, two behavioral ratios decide this. CDR, RDR. So whenever RBI prints currency, extra money, how would we know that how much of this extra money will multiply? So if RBI releases 100, how do we know if this 100 will become 110? How do we know that? It will be known through two ratios. One is this, one is this. I'll give you an extreme scenario. Suppose RBI has printed 100 currencies. People take entire 100 and deposit it in bank. Entire 100 here. And RBI says, I need entire 100 as reserve. There will be no multiplication. Because RBI released 100, 100 came to bank. Bank has to give CRR plus SLR, which means this entire money is back. No multiplication. Similarly, if RBI releases 100, people say that we are going to keep entire 100 in the hand. No multiplication. Extreme case. So if your entire 100 comes in the banking system and goes back to RR, no multiplication. If entire 100 comes here, currency in circulation, no multiplication. How can you multiply? If you don't give as loan, how will you multiply? So who decides how much multiplication will be there? CDR and RDR. So there is a theory which RBI has developed called as H theory. It is called as H theory or H theory of money supply or H theory of money multiplier. What is H theory? This is NCERT, by the way. What does NCERT tell you? NCERT says the meaning of H theory is, listen to it carefully, bacho, meaning of H theory is every time we increase this printing of currency by 1. So suppose that 1 extra currency printed. H theory tells us that ultimately this 1 extra currency will remain 1 or 1 currency will become 2 currencies here. So H theory tells you every time you increase the H, what is the increase in multiplication there? So if you increase H but entire H goes in the hands of public, no increase in multiplication. If you print H and it goes to bank and bank releases it at this loan, then there is multiplication. So H theory tells you for 1 unit increase in H, how much is the increase in money supply? That is what H theory tells you. So let's come back to NCERT. See, what is NCERT? This is just copy of NCERT. And I honestly tell you that this is not my theory. I have given my theory before this only. The easy wala part was this. This is the technical part which NCERT says. So we are studying standard 11th and 12th level of economics, by the way. Well within your syllabus. So don't say it is optional. Kuch log soche, optional class has started. Welcome to optional economics. And sometimes to make fun of me, you also come to me many times and you tell me that, sir, how would it be if I take economics as optional? Then I understand what you are doing. Right? Innocent kids. No, I'm kidding. So, what is H theory? For a given increase in H by RBI, this is pure NCERT with page numbers, you can check. For a given increase in H, which means whenever H increases, what do we try to find out? Multiple increase in money supply. So we are interested in knowing that if H increases, suppose RBI has printed this, we want to know whether this will multiply itself and become this. That's H theory. So whenever you increase H, what is the increase in money supply, overall money supply? So if entire money goes in the hands of public, no increase in money supply will happen. Why will that increase? Same. So H will remain H. So H theory tells you that if H increases, does it multiply itself? And if yes, by what factor? Now, basis of money multiplier process. What did I tell you? Why does money multiply itself? Because in India, we follow fractional reserve system. What is fractional reserve system? 4% and 18%. If this 4% and 18%, suppose it is 22% example, this is 22%. So every time 100 rupees goes in a bank, RBI says, beta 22 rupees is blocked. But if RBI of India says that CRR plus SLR is equal to 100%, then money will never multiply. How can money multiply? Because you can't give it as loan. So What does it tell you? NCERT. NCERT page number 43. What does it tell you? First thing it tells you that there is something called high-powered money. High-powered money means currency plus reserve. And then it tells you it is the base money. Why is this base money? Because it becomes the basis of future currency, loans. This becomes the loans in future. And what is this? This is the first definition of money supply which NCERT introduces. NCERT says that the best definition of money supply is currency in the hand of public plus demand deposit. That's the best definition of money supply. And NCERT says this is the best. Now, what is the second best definition? NCERT says if you take currency, demand deposit plus time deposit. Time deposit means fixed deposit. Fixed deposits are difficult to break. So it becomes the second best definition of money supply. But the best definition is this because the word is supply. But if you add time deposit in it, that is also supply, but restricted supply. How can time deposit become a good supply? Because the word is supply. So NCERT says, page number 43, that the best definition of money supply is currency in pocket, hand, plus demand deposit. Second. Third, what is hedge theory of money supply? Every time RBI prints currency, does the currency become a part of loan system or not? That is told by hedge theory. Hedge theory depends upon fractional reserve system. I told you RDR decides everything. Right? How much money RBI is blocking in the form of 4 plus 18%. Yeah, what is this picture in NCERT? ये क्या देखें? What is this picture in NCERT? Look at the upper side. H theory ka this is the picture. Copied from NCERT. What is this? Tell me. So suppose this is RBI. Guys, this is RBI. So what is RBI doing for us? RBI releases H. ये ठीक है? RBI releases H. This H becomes either the money with public or it goes to banks. Demand. That's what I told you. But this demand is of two types, RR plus ER. And these two together you called as R. So H is equal to C plus R. This cannot be multiplied. It is not possible. If I have money in hand, how will it multiply? So see, we are copying this here. So which means this portion is fixed. See, look at this, it's a rhombus. Right, parallelogram in fact. So this is a parallelogram, see, but whatever is there is here. The length of this from here to here is C. The length from here to here is C. So when RBI releases currency H, guys focus on NCERT. When RBI releases H, one component is C, this component, so C gets copied because this is held by public. So who holds this? Public. So RBI releases H, this C is held by public, so C doesn't change. So this area is fixed. What is this? Reserve. What is reserve? This reserve is the money which has two, required reserve, excess reserve. Out of required and excess, which will multiply? Excess. So I'm writing a formula, R is equal to required reserve plus excess reserve. So if excess reserve leads to more cash, so whenever excess reserve changes, excess reserve, if this bank gives more loan, how does the bank give loan? Through excess reserve. The moment excess reserve is given as loan, so 100 rupees loan will be given, 110 rupees will come back. So if a bank gives 100 rupees as loan, 110 will come back. So this excess reserve, this reserve, which is there in the bank, it keeps on expanding as you give loan. Expand, expand, expand. That's why this part has become this. See? Your reserve has expanded, which means this has the power that if you give it as loan, more money will come back to you. So this is that part. And I told you what is the best definition of money supply? C plus D. C plus D. So this is H and this is money supply. Hedge has led to increase in money supply. NCRT. So NCRT says, look at this. NCRT says that if RBI would have printed H, this C would be held with public. If public is holding something, it will not multiply. Then NCRT says, if entire money that goes to bank D, if it becomes required reserve, then nothing will multiply. What is this part? This part is the excess reserve which has multiplied, because excess reserve expands, and this is the required reserve part. This is the part which multiplies. So whatever RBI does here, there is one small part which has the power to multiply. And when it multiplies, the overall money in the economy increases. That is called money supply. So if somebody will ask you what is money supply will be H becoming C plus DD. This part is actually increase in money supply. So you would have heard this term called money multiplier. That's your money multiplier part. Money has multiplied. Factor. Yes, this triangle. So NCRT does not talk about this triangle. They should have. They just talk about this trapezium, but they don't talk about this triangle. If you break it down into two parts, it becomes required reserve, and excess reserve has multiplied like this. This is multiplied excess reserve, this part. So that's your money supply. So what do we observe? Who has the power to increase money supply? The power, yes. H leads to increase in money supply. But who decides ER? RR decides ER. So ER does not decide RR. RR decide ER. Absolutely. So, but in this case, since CDR is not mentioned, so we'll talk about this. So from H, fractional reserve system. So if this is kept constant like this, then to it will expand. But if RBI says, no, this entire thing, required reserve will be this whole thing, then the money will not multiply. But this required reserve is just 22%. That's why excess reserve is multiplying itself. It is given as loan. So H theory of money supply. I am not sure, maybe you will have to watch it once more, the video, because I find NCRT to be more complicated. When I was doing it using my methods, this complication was not there. You could easily answer questions using that method. But how could I not teach? I didn't want to teach you this, because without this also I could have completed the entire topic, you could have answered all the questions. But then without NCRT, at the end, if you will open your NCRT after the course is over, you might feel that, okay, there is something missing. That sometimes the missing part, is the most dangerous part, which you should miss actually. But then I thought, let's have a discussion. Where will you use it? Nowhere. Why will you read NCRT? Well, padha diya, dictation also I'll provide. Then why will you read NCRT? So that's why we are doing it in the class, so that you don't read it. This is NCRT. You have just done 3 pages of NCRT in last half an hour. So I'll try to make it very normal for you while giving you dictations. And I strongly suggest that no need to follow this. This was just given to you so that you'll get a feeling that, okay, NCRT, I understand what is there. Your friend is saying, sir, how can a 12th standard child understand all this? I feel sad for this. I was not a commerce or economics student in my school days, so I did not go through this, but I feel really sad, because imagine somebody not teaching it like this. Somebody tells you, NCRT, read the diagram, and they don't tell you this is ER. Then what will happen? What will be the level of understanding? These are the problems. That's why the school system, I don't know. People don't do just, and everybody who teaches this is in hurry somehow. Jaldi jaldi kar lo, let's do it fast. Yeah, why not? From the area where questions are asked, do it fast. And the areas which are not asked, let's do it slow. Like definition of demand. We'll do it for 2 hours. Money multiplier, 5 minutes. Why? And we know question will come from here only. It's absolutely favorite of UPSC. So we'll repeat all these things again, don't worry. Let me show you another NCRT. And really sorry for the next part, which I'm going to show. It's not mine. NCRT, enjoy. Oh, very nice. Your online friend is saying that I had economics in 12th and one of my best friends explained to me. Awesome. Multiply the money, get extra money, then where does the extra money come from? Is the total money in the economy changed? Yeah, total money is changed. Same. The system is called FRS and the concept is called as RR. Now have a look at the board, please. So you will get more ideas from NCERT that where does the money come from actually? How does it multiply? Kahin se to money is coming, no? Chicken and egg problem. If I tell you that there are too many chickens, there must have been too many eggs, but then who gave the eggs? Right? So that's a big dilemma in the world. What came first, isn't it? Now he's imagining all this. He's so innocent. He's already lost. And he has also started to, both of you, since the time you're sitting together, no, you are imagining same things. Very dangerous class. So I see. Chalo, let's not waste time. You don't need to write this. This need not be written anywhere. What is to be used? One formula is there which has to be used. I'll show you the formula. This formula I've already taught you, CDR and RDR. They are trying to teach the same thing using this process. God knows why, but we'll do it. NCERT. See, a promise is a promise. Since I promised you will do NCERT, we will do NCERT. Now let's start. This is NCERT. Same extension of same page number which I showed you. What is the page number? 43. 43, no, this is 44 or 45. Same book. So now see. There is this guy, let's do it fast. This time you have to respond. Aap karoge ye and you will write somewhere, kuch bhi, some rough calculations like CSAT. This is not to be written in the form of notes. What will you do with this? This is useless. But we'll do some calculations in the class for fun, for understanding purpose. So keep your page, extra page ready, where you should write some calculations for practice. Just give a title, calculations for practice. Let's do it. And we'll do it together. I won't speak, you will speak. My first question to you. Calculations for practice, not for exam, but for practice, because NCERT has to be done. That's why we are doing it. So now there is a bond. Look carefully, bacho, but I must say a great example for practice by NCERT. Superb example. So this is a bond. This person is a company. So this company wants money. Where is the money printed? RBI. So where will you go to get the money? RBI. Now, who prints coins in India? Central government. Ministry of Finance. Central government prints the coins. But other than coins, ₹2 currency and onwards, it is printed by RBI. Who distributes all the currencies in India, whether it is coins or it is currency? RBI. Distribution, there is no doubt. Every distribution of currency by RBI. But printing of coins is by central government. Printing of other currencies by RBI. But distribution by RBI. So one of your friend asked a question, a very genuine question, chicken egg problem. That how would it all start? So it starts from here. So there is a company. This company wants to sell bonds to get cash. And suppose in the economy there is no cash. It has to start somewhere, chicken and egg. So where will this company go? RBI. And it will tell RBI that RBI, my name is Mr. Murthy. I want to sell bond. I'm a good guy. My company is good, honest company. I want to get some money. I have to improve the company. RBI says, I buy bonds. I invest in bonds. That's not a problem. That's how I make profit. So they will take the bond. And what will RBI do? RBI will release the check. And what is written on the check? H rupees. So what is the value of the check? H. H could be 100 rupees. It could be 1 lakh rupees. H is the rupee. I'm giving you one information, guys. Assume, write it somewhere in your notebook. Assume, please write. Assume, number 1, money released by RBI is equal to H. Money released by RBI is equal to H. That's number 1. Number 2. Bacho, what is the second? Second is, what is the tendency? Don't write, I'll give you education. What is the second behavioral ratio? That whenever you give money to people, guys, take it seriously. Whenever you give money to people, people have a tendency that half of the money they will hold in hand, half of the money they will give to bank. That's the tendency. It's purely from NCERT I have copied. So half of the money in hand, half of the money given to bank. So what is my behavior? My behavior is whenever I get cash, half. So if H will be given to me, how much money will I keep in my hand? H by half. What is half of H? H by 2. I'll keep H by 2 in my hand, H by 2 will go in bank. How do you write that behavioral ratio? CDR is equal to 0.5. Please write number 2. CDR is equal to 0.5. That's the second assumption. CDR is equal to 0.5. Right? Is equal to half. देख लो कहीं पे is equal to half. 0.5 is equal to half. It will help. अच्छा बच्चों, the Reserve Bank of India is also very rigid. Reserve Bank of India says, guys, focus on this part. Reserve Bank of India says, whenever a bank will get 100 rupees, I will take 20% in the form of required reserve, CRR plus SLR. Currently, though, it is 22%. But suppose RBI said, I will take 4% CRR and 16% SLR will be blocked. So SLR becomes 16, 16, and CRR is 4. So 16 plus 4, 20. So RBI says, whenever 100 rupees will come to a bank, I will block 20%, I will say keep it separate. Right? So 20% in terms of decimal means 0.2. Convert 20% into decimal, 0.2. So every time 1 rupee will come in a bank, 20 paisa will be blocked. So RDR is equal to 0.2. RDR is equal to 0.2. Write it please, simplified ratio. Please write RDR. See, behavioral ratio, not mathematical. So RDR is equal to 0.2 is equal to 1 by 5. Fraction 1 by 5. Cool. Let's do some calculations. Fatafat, huh? You keep speaking, guys, and give answer. Now, what has happened? This guy has a check of H. He does not have cash. It's a check. Because you asked me, no, from where does the process start? So he takes H in a bank. How much money will he deposit? How much money will come out? How much will be deposited? So please write round 1. Bacho will write like this, round 1. Now, Fatafat, please tell me, what shall I write in deposits? H went. Guys, H ka check is there in the bank, but I told you the behavioral ratio of the people is, whatever money you get, you keep half in your pocket, half in the bank. So H ka check will go in the bank, but H by 2 will be deposited, and what will be the cash in hand? H by 2. This is how it will be divided in round 1. So this D stays with the bank, you know it, D for deposit. But the moment D for deposit happens, then we put an arrow in front of that and we will write how much out of this will be the required reserve, R, 0.2. Absolutely correct. 0.2 of H by 2. And you are not wrong, you are absolutely correct. Everything makes sense. That's gone. 0.2 is gone. So how much money is available to give as loan? H by 2 was there. From here, 0.2 into H by 2 gone. 0.8 into H by 2 is remaining. Because H by 2 is divided into two parts, 0.2, 0.8. 0.2 is gone. Blocked. This fund is reserves. And how did we decide this? RDR. And how did we decide this? CDR. So how much money is available for loan? This one, this money. Right? So let's come back. How much money did RBI release? H. H was released by RBI. So if somebody will tell you that beta, if RBI released H, don't write this point, this is extra, otherwise it will destroy your diagram. If RBI released H, what have people done? H by 2 people have kept in their hand, right? and the remaining part went in the banking system. But how much money will the bank release now? As a loan, this much. This much will be released. So this becomes loan. So what are we going to write? 0.8 h by 2. Now this is moving in the economy. But then there is something interesting. Somebody will, no, this is the gone. So CRR also. This is also a money, total money in the economy. So h by 2 held by public, this is 0.2 h by 2. 0.2 h by 2. So h by 2, 0.2 h by 2 and 0.8 h by 2. This money goes in somebody's hand. It is loan, no. Round 2 will start here. So let's write round 2 here. What is round 2? The moment money comes to this guy, he will also behave in the same way. So how much money is he getting? 0.8 h by 2. So from this, how much money will he keep in hand? CDR 0.5. CDR is 0.5. So cash in hand is equal to 0.5 into 0.8 into h by 2. I'm just copying this term. Why to simplify? Just keep copying, because we don't have to learn the maths. We have to learn the concept. So this money is given as loan to him. So whenever he gets a loan, he keeps something in his hand, remaining he deposits in the bank. Because this is the behavior of the people. Whenever people get money, half of the money they keep in hand, half of the money they give to bank. I already gave you this point. So, are we... No. This is not 0. How can you say 0? You missed the point. CDR is 0.5. So whenever I give you 100, half of the money will be in your hand, 50 and 50 will be deposits. Deposits are not 0. Guys, the beauty of this example is anywhere where you lose focus, you have to restart. Don't lose focus, please, because there will be a problem. Be careful, because we can't, suppose I do 3 rounds with you, can't go back to the first round, but this time I am, if you have lost focus, which you have. So guys, please, this is NCERT, Standard 12th. Again, let's restart. What is the check amount that has come to this person? H. Careful, please, don't lose focus. So H amount comes to this guy. What will he do with H? What is his behavior? I'd give you an assumption. There are 2 assumptions that we have made. First is, whenever money comes to public, the assumption is, whatever money you give him, if you give him H, he will divide it in 2 parts. He will deposit something in the bank, he will hold something. What will he hold? 0.5 of H he will hold in his hand, 0.5 of H he'll deposit in bank. That's his habit. How do you know? You know it through here. This ratio is already assumption. We assumed it. That whenever you give money, it will do half. Right? So simple. No. Please follow this. Don't bring your calculation. Follow this and tell me what is wrong here. If this is 0.5, h by 2 there, h by 2, what is wrong there? There is nothing wrong. You point out, no, what is the problem? Your friend is saying that this deposit will be h. Well, how? How will the deposit be h? I'm telling you it is half. We have not reached here. This is half. So, ab dekho, your friend is bringing time deposits. I told you, we are not assuming that. Every deposit we are assuming as D. So, right, that's why we wrote it, half. Whether you split it into something, how does it matter? I will say recurring deposit, fixed deposit, time deposit, how does it matter? It's deposits. So, it's half. Now, please, this is overthinking. Don't do that. It will be very dangerous. Half. Now, let's go back. So, round 1. Let's look at round 1. Don't lose focus, because there will be deep trouble. Because then for 2-3 days we'll keep doing this and not even a single question will come from here. This is just for fun, NCERT. So what has happened? Round 1, H rupees has come to somebody, deposit is half, and what is the cash in hand? H by 2. How do you decide that this is H by 2? You decide it through CDR. CDR tells you, I clearly told you that in behavioral ratios, you just interpret it using literature. That if CDR is 0.5, that means whatever money you give to society, half of the money they will keep in hand, half of the money they will give to bank. That's it. Right. So now imagine if you ask me a question, if I give the money to the bank, bank catches fire. I mean, do we want to discuss that? Right. Then you understand what will happen to UPSC. So half of the money in hand, half of the money goes to deposits. Now see what does the bank do. RBI comes to the bank and says, guys, do not lose focus. So what will the RBI do? RBI will come here and RBI will say, you beta bank, you please give me reserves. And what is the assumption of reserve? 0.2 of whatever is the deposit. So 0.2 of H by 2. Right, simple. We are keeping it simple. So now this money is gone. So if you ask the bank, that bank out of your deposits, how much money you can give as loan? So bank will say, this is the money I have. This is the money which is blocked. So this minus this. So this is H by 2 minus 0.2 H by 2, 0.8. Because isme say if you remove this, it becomes 0.8. That's the money you will give as loan. Round 2 will start from this loan. That's your round 2. So in round 2, what happens? This guy who has received this loan, 0.8H. Again, behavioral ratio. What is the behavioral ratio? CDR, which is 0.5. So now what will happen? This is the money which he has got. This guy has got this money. So from this money, how much will he keep in hand? He'll keep 0.5 CDR, 0.5 of this. Right? And how much money is he gonna keep in the bank? Why same? 0.5 into 0.8 H by 2. Half of. What will the bank do now? Immediately bank will say round 2 that, oh, let me take it out. Why? Because RDR. Very nice. RDR is 0.2. Now you are giving correct answers. Good. Online also, offline also. We are on track. Just focus was required, nothing else. Because there is no economics here. If you tell me that there is something economic about, what is economics here? We are doing CSAT, number systems. Economics part was done long time back, 1.5 hours back. What is RDR? 0.2. Ab you are smart kids. You tell me, out of this money, how much money will RBI block? How shall I write it? Money blocked by RBI are 0.2 into what? 0.5. This whole thing, no? Yes. Huh? Awesome. Yes. 0.5 into 0.8 into H by 2. This is your R. Now, how much money is left with the bank to give as loan? So, loan will be equal to 0.8 into 0.5 into 0.8 into H by 2. This will never stop. So, what do? It becomes infinite set. It becomes a series, infinite. So, how does it look like? Let me show you. Start part. It looks like this. So that's what I converted the entire NCERT wala page into this diagram. So ultimately we reach here. Where did we reach? So let's start. Because I have given you 2 rounds, you have written some numbers. Just match if those 2 things that you wrote, round 1, round 2, it is reflecting here or not. So we want to find out that whenever RBI releases H, RBI released H, ideally this should have been the money supply. But we are interested in finding when RBI released H for the first time. At that time when it was done, this H remained H or it increased. So suppose that RBI released H and H was 100. Now it has become 300, which means can we say that H released by RBI, if you multiply it with 3, it has become money supply? RBI released 100 rupees, but through this magic, loan, it has become 300. So this H was 100, but it has become 3 times. So multiplied by 3, this will become money supply. So we want to find out that whenever RBI releases H, which is this, whether it converts into directly H, remains H, or whether it increases and becomes something like this. So does H lead to something bigger? And if yes, then can we say that MS is equal to some alpha into H? Which means if RBI releases 100 rupees, can we find what is this alpha, so that we will know every time 100 rupees is released, it becomes multiplied by alpha. So alpha suppose is 3. So we will know that every time RBI releases 100 rupees, it becomes 300 rupees, money supply. This alpha we want to know. And who will decide this alpha? You already know. Without teaching NCERT, the funda which I gave you, it was much simpler. I gave you 2 things. No. CDR and RDR. Brilliant. CDR and RDR. Which means ultimately this alpha will be decided by CDR and RDR. Remember how simple life was when we were not doing NCERT. No complication. Every answer was coming from you online and offline, and there was not even a doubt. The moment we got into NCERT, simple things became so complex that we have no idea what we are doing. He was about to jump out of the class, but he did not. He said it's only first floor. You will break your hand and leg. He said, why to do that? अभी रुक जाओ एक मिनट, आ जाओगे वहां तक. थोड़ा सा देखो इसको, look carefully. You will find the ER. But I told you who decides ER. Easily a long time back I told you ER is nothing. This actually decides ER. So why will I write ER? I'll write the first thing which is decided. Right? So we are actually interested in finding what is this alpha. And this alpha depends on these 2 things. So what is NCERT trying to tell us? Let's do the calculation. NCERT is trying to tell us, look at this. NCERT says that whenever RBI releases H, half of the H remains in the hand of public, half of the H goes in bank. Okay, thank you. Then NCERT says next round, when you multiply the CDR, RDR, these numbers you are getting, check your copy, you will get these numbers. So NCERT says this H by 2 is becoming this, we are splitting it. So NCERT says add all the split parts. You will see these numbers in your notebook, you will see this. That point, this is 0.8 by 2. So you will see that number. First round, 0.8. So you'll keep on seeing this multiple times. Keep seeing this, keep seeing this, keep seeing this. And then NCERT says take H common, and then you will get this number. Then H into this whole number. NCERT says that if you do sequence and series, this is not your AP, this is your GP, geometric progression. And what is the common ratio? 0.8 by 2 is the common ratio. So if you do this infinite sum of GP, you will find some number which is called as M or alpha. And since this is 1 plus this, so this entire thing inside is greater than 1. This whole bracket is greater than 1. That's what NCERT tries to argue. That if you take this number of first round, H by 2, and then you check your notebook, you will see this number, 0.8. I'll show you where you see 0.8. See, that's your 0.8 loan. Because the first was H by 2 and this is H by 2. That's written as first. Then this starts because this becomes the second round. See, 0.8. So that's why we took this. So every time you take these rounds, you will see that this sequence will come in front of you. And when you see this is a series basically. When you see this series, you will see it becomes 1 plus something. And whenever you add something to 1, this whole thing is greater than 1. because this is 1 plus these. So which means this m is greater than 1. So what is the formula telling you? This formula tells you that this money supply, which is a sum of all this, money supply is equal to m into h, because यहाँ पे तो bracket h. So NCERT tells you that money supply in the economy is equal to m into h, and this m is called as money multiplier, and its value is greater than 1. It is greater than 1 because this entire bracket inside is greater than 1. So NCERT tells you whenever RBI will release 100 rupees, because we follow fractional reserve system, so something will be kept as blocked, but remaining amount will be given as loan. This loan will go, come back so many times that ultimately at the end, if you see how much money this supply is there in the economy, this 100 becomes multiplied with m. So m is supposed to, because it's greater than 1. So if you release 100, it will become 100 into 2, 200. So money supply will become 200. That's what NCERT is trying to argue. So what will you take down from here? What is that thing that you are supposed to memorize, note down, or make notes? This part. This is the result which we are supposed to take. Because UPSC is not an exam where they will say prove it. Firto you will have to do this in the exam. So this NCERT ka boring paragraph I converted into some pictures and all these things. But we don't need this. We simply need this last part. I have done something from my side to convert this into something better. That's why I'm not giving you dictation, Abhi, because dictation will be final. I've done something from my side, just to make sure that if UPSC tries to be extra smart, play with you, mess up your exam, you can come out of it. How? This is a pure trap, because this is literature, but the idea given by NCERT is beautiful. NCERT says at the end, you will get this expression whereby the m will be greater than 1. So this idea is beautiful. But the way they have given this idea, I don't feel it's good, because normally we cannot understand this. So let me show you how to understand. This is my idea. This is what I will do for UPSC. Without breaking my head, I will do all these things. And there, PMC, you will be happy because your question is answered right here. That was NCERT. I didn't want to change the NCERT example, so I was not speaking anything about it. But this is my example. What have I done? Exactly the same thing which you were thinking. And you were right, actually. So see, what am I doing here? Bacho, look at the board. This I'll dictate, and I'll ask you to write also at the right time. So this is the last thing. So let's see. Achha, before we do this, let's do one thing. Let me see if you can answer UPSC question without me saying anything. Yeah, this is UPSC question. All the UPSC questions are here. There is no other UPSC. It is not possible. These are the only ratios. So now I want to ask you a question, that what formula did I give you for money supply? Money supply is equal to m into h. Dekho, without studying my formula also you can answer question. I have full faith. Now guys, focus please, come back. So this m is greater than 1. Cool? Awesome. Now this m depends on two things, CDR and RDR. Yeah? And what did I tell you? These are behavioral ratios. And I requested you for one thing, that the interpretation of this ratio should be done exactly the way I am asking you. And what is the interpretation I told you? Remember, in the initial stages of the class today, I told you inflation means CPI headline. Remember? So what is the interpretation of this? It is behavioral ratio which tells us that if the value is 0.5, this means whenever you give money to people, half of the money they will keep in hand. And what is this RDR I told you? RDR means the interpretation of this will be what is the CRR plus SLR. So if it is 0.2, that means whenever 100 rupees comes to a bank, RBI will say, give me 20% of that. So you have to interpret it literature wise that this shows how much money goes to RBI. And then whatever is left becomes excess reserve. So the interpretation of this will be, if this is very high, we'll say, oh, RBI is taking more money. So it is written like RDR, but it is interpreted by saying that it's a behavioral ratio, which is actually decided by CRR and SLR. If CRR, SLR is high, we will say too much high. So you write it like RDR, but interpret it, and I repeat this, you interpret it by saying that it is the money which RBI will block. So now let's do the analysis. Everything is there in front of you, please answer. And I will show you UPSC questions. And I'll show you that without using my formula also you can answer. Just using your logic. So can you please tell me, this is the equation which is true. This equation can never be violated. So look at the equation and please tell me, if H increases, what will happen to money supply? That's the first question which is asked in UPSC prelims. Second question. If RDR comes down, I asked you how to interpret this. CRR plus SLR. Because if that is down, then obviously ER will be high. So if this is down, what will happen to money supply? That's your answer. And let me tell you, all the answers online are also correct. Not even a single wrong answer. Let's do this. So people have a habit these days that they don't keep too much cash. See, CDR is low. They don't keep cash. So money supply will? Brilliant. UPSC question. I'll show you also so that you feel that, yeah, you know it. ऐसे ही let's have a look at it. We'll solve it later on. But let's see. The money multiplier in the economy increases with which one of the following? And I told you that this depends on and this is greater than 1. Increase in the cash reserve ratio. And I told you, the moment somebody says CRR, SLR, immediately your eyes should go here. And you have to say, acha, this has increased. What will be the answer? If this is increasing, what will happen to money multiplier? Money will multiply very fast. Go down. What is the question saying? It will increase. I'm not saying anything. I'll just ask you. I will not speak because we have not completed this whole thing. So let me see if you can argue. Increase in the SLR. So if SLR will increase, all of a sudden more money will multiply. Good. Increase in the banking habit of the people. So banking habit of the people, oh, I'm going to bank. Yeah. So every time you go to a bank to either deposit money or withdraw money, money will multiply. Whether you deposit money, bank is happy. Whether you withdraw money, bank is happy. And for people doomed or damned, in whatever you do, loss. But for a bank, though, by New Year celebration. So banking habit means two habits. Give money. If you give more money to the bank, what will bank do? Bank will dance. Bank will say, good, now I'll give loans. If you withdraw money from the bank, so banking habit would mean that suppose you are taking loan. That's the meaning of banking habit. So if you take loan, so what would that mean? Bank will be very happy. Bank will say, take loan, multiply. So I'm not saying whether it is right or wrong, you decide. Next is increase in the population of India. Yeah, they're trying to say that we will be number one in this. One option is always for fun. In fact, in this option, it could have been Vajiram or whatever. What is this option? Increase in population. So increase in population of the country. So, yes, population has increased. So, what do I do? Population has increased. Brilliant. So your friend is saying, sir, no other information is given. How can I add information from my side? That's what your friend is saying. So she's saying, yes, population has increased. So, because this is a question, how can I add question from my side to a question? So question is saying increase in population. All right, then alien abduction. If you will say banking habit has increased, I will say alien abduction has happened. क्यों नहीं हो सकता? According to you, you can add one condition. I will also add one condition. Alien abduction has happened. See the problem in assumptions? Absolutely. Your friend is right. Your friend is saying, online friend, that I could have argued about this, sir, seriously, if something related to behavior of the people would have been given. That when population increases, what is the new behavior, etc. Then I could have argued, but nothing is given. So she's saying that why will I break my head over it? Because nothing is given. It's a very open statement. I don't know. And remaining all the options that are given here, they're precise. You can easily argue using this formula about the first three. Iska to I don't know, unless something else is given. So let's see. The money multiplier in the economy increases. Matlab pakka it will increase. No, come on. We have written that. That reserve is of two types: required reserve, excess reserve. No, check please. I have already given you that dictation. Required reserve means SLR, CRR. It must have been given. CRR, SLR? Just before CRR, SLR, check. Just before CRR, SLR. What is the formula? CRR plus SLR. That is given, no? So let's write it as a summary. Please write. Two types of reserves. Today's first dictation, two types of reserves. Two types of reserves. Please write. Number one, required reserve. Required reserve. So please write, it is the reserve. It is the reserve which the banks have to maintain, on the instruction of RBI. On the instruction of RBI. It is a legal requirement. It is a legal requirement. It is a legal requirement. It is a legal requirement, right? So please write that required reserve is equal to CRR plus SLR. CRR plus SLR. Now, I have already given you dictation on CRR and SLR, so we won't waste time. Already dictated. Number two, please write excess reserve. Excess reserve. Excess reserve. Please write. The reserves which are over and above required reserves are called as excess reserves. Are called as excess reserve. Over and above required reserve are called as excess reserves. Done? Okay, cool. Write a note, please. India follows, and these notes you will keep for UPSC. India follows fractional reserve system. Fractional reserve system. Fractional reserve system. Which simply means that out of the bank deposits, a part has to be kept, as required reserve, and the remaining part becomes the excess reserve, which can be provided as loan by the bank. Full stop. You know where NCERT makes the mistake, and that's why I'm dictating this to you. Last part. What does NCERT say? You know, NCERT says whatever deposits comes in a bank, a small part is kept as reserves, and the remaining part is given as loan. That part I have changed, and I have told you that might be given, may be given. What is the last sentence that we wrote? And the remaining part? Can be provided as loan. The moment you write can be, that means your money multiplier can be greater than 1. But the moment you write it will be, फिर तो definitely it will be greater than 1. So that's why I slightly changed it compared to NCERT, because NCERT has proved using all these examples that money multiplier is greater than 1, but technically it is not possible. So that's why UPSC might not give you marks if you write something which is very debatable, because UPSC has never said that NCERT is my official book or syllabus. It's nowhere written. So we are not going to copy. If we feel there is some doubt, we will not copy that. So while teaching, I taught you NCERT by telling you page number. I rarely do it. Today I did it. I do it only for one thing, because even I don't like a few things in this page. So I did it so that you understand that this was NCERT, this is not me. Whatever you write in the class, that's me. So what are we going to write? We'll write whatever we have written, that excess reserve can be provided as loan to the people. Continue writing. I'll come back to you. You're leaving? Then right. So continue writing that this fractional reserve system, FRS, not only, continue. This fractional reserve, I'll tell you when to change. This fractional reserve system, FRS, becomes the basis of credit creation in future. Basis of credit creation in future. That is, FRS is the basis of money multiplier. FRS is the basis of money multiplier. FRS is the basis of money multiplier. Is it fine? Cool. Now let's write a new title, because we have written the basics, we have been able to connect. Basics, new title. So please write the new title, which is money and its various aspects. Money and its various aspects. So this is not NCERT, this I am doing from my side. NCERT part is over. And I strongly suggest that if you want the wellness of your mind, don't do NCERT for this part, because you understand what will happen. So follow these things, because I'm teaching you these things out of whatever knowledge I have, not from NCERT. Now we are out of NCERT. That trapezium will copy, but inside this only. So this is money and its various aspects. Bacho, I have a question for you. Whenever you talk about money, there are two sides of money. What are the two sides of money? Money supply and money demand. There are two things: money supply, money demand, because we said money and its various aspects. So since in today's class I taught you money supply first, so we'll make exhaustive notes on money supply. Once money supply is over, then we'll do money demand. And we will see what is the connection between money supply and money demand. So let's write money supply. So please write, money has two aspects. Money has two aspects. Number one, money supply. And number two, money demand, money supply and money demand. Money supply and money demand. Please give a title, big title, money supply. Money supply. And let's write. Please write, bacho. A paragraph. See, this page of NCERT was good actually. So this we are going to write because very logical and everything. Uske baad problem happens, so I'll change those pages where there is a problem and make it useful for UPSC. But this page we are going to use because I don't feel there is any dispute here. So please write that RBI in India follows a system called as minimum reserve system. Minimum reserve system, under which RBI keeps a reserve of rupees 200 crores out of which rupees 200 crores, out of which 115 crore, 115 crore is in the form of gold, and 85 crore is in the form of foreign currency. So, bacho, I told you there is a box where RBI puts few things, gold and five, but this box is so small. I told you what is the outer limit of this box? MPC. So please change the paragraph and please write, on the basis of MRS, minimum reserve system. This is called minimum reserve system, okay? Minimum is 200 crores. On the basis of MRS, RBI can print any amount of currency. But because of binding factors, which are the binding factors? But because of binding factors like inflation, है ना? But because of binding factors like inflation and brilliant GDP, because of binding factors like inflation and GDP, the money printed by RBI has to be in accordance with other economic targets. है ना बच्चों, this is a very popular question, no? Everywhere you will see this question in reels, in videos, that how much money can RBI print? I showed you through a diagram that the outer limit is the MPC, which is inflation 4 plus 2%, 4 plus minus 2% plus GDP. It cannot cross that limit. Which means, which system of currency are we following? Fiat currency, legal tender. So see, everything is connected. So please write, hence, in the same paragraph, continue. Hence, in India, rupee is considered to be a fiat currency. That is legal tender. Fiat currency which means legal tender. Now, please change the paragraph. Let's write what is fiat currency. Please write. Fiat currency or legal tender simply means fiat currency. Change the paragraph and write. Fiat currency or legal tender simply means that the currency is not backed by any tangible asset, but it is backed by a legal promise of the central bank and the government. Hence, a fiat currency cannot be refused. Hence, fiat currency cannot be refused during transactions. Write a note, please, another note. And please write in the note fiduciary money. That's the spelling. Fiduciary money. So please write. It is that form of money which is a close substitute of currency, but it is not identical to it. It is not identical to it. It is used during transactions on the basis of trust, between two parties. On the basis of trust between two parties. Please put a full stop, guys. What have we seen? We have seen the connection that whenever you talk about money supply, acha, example. Please write example of fiduciary money. Example, check and demand draft. Demand draft and check too you must be knowing, because you make a lot of payment in school and colleges through demand draft and check. Yeah, electoral bonds also. Right. So if you ask the government of India, they will say electoral bonds is a very close substitute of. Seriously, I'm not joking. Electoral bonds, it's on the basis of trust. That is also called as fiduciary money. That bond is equivalent to cash. So yes, it is used everywhere. So wherever you will see that the concept of black money is not there, there you will see that they accept fiduciary money. But wherever the concept of black money exists, then fiduciary money will not exist, because fiduciary is completely against black, because it can be tracked. So wherever check and demand draft are being used in business payments also, if you see that check and demand draft is used, that portion cannot be converted into black. Cash, yes. So yes, there is a problem. And this, what is this called as electoral bonds. So when there was a question on electoral bond, you know what was the defense by the government of India? Government of India was giving a defense by saying that at least I'm telling you how much money is coming, because if I had to take black money, I would have taken cash. That was the logic by government. So government was defending itself by saying that it's not the case that India never had political donations. We always had political donation. In future also we'll have it. Every country has it. But government said that if you want to criticize me, criticize. I think we can design the electoral bonds better. After Supreme Court rebuke, they said we'll design it better. But defense given by Government of India was, government said earlier it was all black. Take the black money, kidnapping money, extortion money, give it to political parties. Nobody will even know how much money came. So government said that at least in case of electoral bonds, now you can do an investigation because it came through the banking channel. So at least the government said that at least that is the first step in the positive direction. That was the logic of the Government of India, which means they were talking about fiduciary money. And then they were saying that it's fiduciary money. That is another thing, that whosoever bought the electoral bond might be a person of suspicious character. फिर तो person who writes check also might be a person of suspicious character. I am a contract killer. I earn money by, contract of those things. And then I want to take admission in a college. That money I'll write as a check. Yes, I can do that. But at least somebody will know that I wrote a check and do an investigation. Right? So in that sense, so I'm not defending anyone. I'm just telling you an example that if UPSC will ask you an example that can you put electoral bonds there in the current form? We can. So without going into the complexities, because I gave you one definition, it should be based on trust and you should exchange it. Then it becomes fiduciary, because government is not saying you should use it. Government is saying you decide if you want to give it to me or not. I'm not forcing you. But when government says, like forcing only. So now please write the next one. H is equal to, you have completed the dictation. Example, fiduciary. Now please give a subtitle. We are doing money supply only. So in money supply, don't give a new big title. It's money supply. Within money supply, a chotu title, small title. Yes, PP. So please write a small title. High powered money. So this dictation which I am going to give you is not from NCERT, because you already saw what is NCERT. And I told you before teaching also that there will be problem after I teach NCERT. So I'm going to give you my dictations. It will be clean. You can directly use it without controversies. But I can announce one thing to you. Normally, I refrain from the optional level teaching in the class. But if in future, if you feel that one day you are not in a mood to study too much with me, and suppose you want to say after 1.5 hours that, okay, let's not study. So I won't give you off. What I can do is I can give you my formulas related to money multiplier, money supply, and these behavioral ratios. Because being in the field of economics for so many years, whenever I encountered problems, I used to design a few things that, okay, if I make changes in this, what will happen? So those formulas are much better than what you have studied, because NCERT at that school level, maybe they don't want to give all those things. So yes, there are some formulas which are there, which some researchers have also done. I have also done a few things, few number juggling, etc., etc. If you want, we can do that someday when you are not in a great mood to study, let's say half an hour or 15 minutes if you have extra. That day you remind me randomly, I'll write some things on the board, but you don't write it in the exam. For fun, you can do it just to see the corrections. Just out of curiosity, because 2-3 of you asked, one offline, one online, 2 online. If you want, I can do that. But in the class for UPSC purpose, I won't. Extra time, sometime if you feel, maybe we can have it. So today, what am I going to give you in my dictations? Change the entire NCERT. Like first statement, I already changed by telling you where did we change. NCERT says money multiplier greater than 1. I said it might be greater than 1. Oh, change has already started. So let's write. So see, PMC, if you are following the last few year questions and if you are seeing my lectures, you will see that all the questions are a part of your lectures. So instead of bringing directly PYQ, I bring PYQs, whichever is relevant. And instead of that, I mix it in the class and then I bring my new questions to you. Like if you remember the Forex, like foreign exchange, BOP, etc., all the questions that you saw, except for 5, it was all fresh. So most of the questions, relevant questions, I do it like we have to complete that set. In inflation also you saw 30 questions. So in capital market also you saw. So all these questions, we are already doing it, whatever is there. So in this also we'll do it in a different way. I'll bring the past year paper for you. Today only I would have done all that. I started it already. So we'll do it sometime now when you are in an exam mood. But today let's make notes. So please write. High powered money, likhe. That high powered money is that money which becomes the base for future credit creation, for future credit creation. Full stop. It can also be called as total liability of RBI. It can also be called as total liability of RBI. Total liability of RBI. Right? Then please write. In other words, H is equal to high powered money. H is equal to currency plus reserves. Currency plus reserves. Now, change the paragraph and please write. H is called as high powered money. H is called as HPM, high powered money. H is called as high powered money because India follows, this is very important guys, it can come in mains, because India follows fractional reserve system, under which all the banks have to maintain a fraction of their deposits as required reserves. This gives the power to the banks. This is very important, guys. This gives power to the bank to use the remaining fraction. This gives power to the bank to use remaining fraction for credit creation. If they extend loans. See the difference? So we are saying that you have excess reserves which you can use for credit creation, but NCERT has said that it will always happen. That's the difference. So in UPSC, we'll try to be little more pragmatic. So that part is done. So what is this? This is high powered money. This is the only definition you have to use, guys. If you use any other definition, there might be problems in the exam. This is technically correct definition. Change the paragraph and please write measures of money supply. Please give a title, measures of money supply. Measures of money supply. So I told you, there is something called as best measure of money supply. What is best measure of money supply? The currency that you have in pocket and the currency that you have done in demand deposit. If you add them, it becomes the best measure of money supply. But best matlab, there must be other measures also. So let's write all the measures of money supply. In fact, you already know 2, 3. You just have to write them in a perfect order. ऐसे कर लेते हैं. Let's write it like this. This. So please write number one, M naught. Please write M naught is equal to reserve money. M naught is equal to reserve money. Please write these measures. I'll tell you how to use it. M naught is equal to reserve money. Then please write CIC. CIC means currency in circulation. CIC plus bankers deposit with RBI. Bankers deposit with RBI. Bankers deposit with RBI. Right? What is bankers deposit with RBI? So if you give money to bank also does some reverse repo operation, etc. So that is bankers deposit with RBI. Banks also have to give required reserves. Right? It's like CRR. CRR goes from banks to the RBI. Some reverse repo also goes. So it is all included here. So what are we trying to say? We are trying to say, look at it carefully, we are trying to say that M0 is a measure which is dividing entire economy into two parts. The money which is in the hands of the public, or the money, and public may, here banks are included. So see a weird definition. The definition that the whole world and India follows is CIC, currency in circulation, which means they are saying that whatever currency is there in the hand of the public, plus also in the banking system, which banks can use as loan. Entire thing is hidden. So banks plus public, that's why it is CIC and it is not C. This is C, currency with public C. This is currency in circulation. So how does the currency circulate in the economy? Currency circulates either with public, or banks have some deposits. This deposit can be demand deposit or time deposit. So that whole thing is there in CIC. That's the beauty of CIC. So CIC means either in the public hand or in the hand of the bank, which can be extended as loan. And whatever is the reserve requirement of the bank, either required reserve or bank is giving as reverse repo rate. So that is included here. So if you add this and this, entire money of the economy is included. There is no other money left. Either the money is here in the hand of public, or in the bank in the form of demand deposit and time deposit, or it is in the form of required reserve plus reverse repo, or whatever deposits banks do with RBI. There is nothing else. All the companies like Infosys, Tata's, they are included here in the form of public only. Remember, retail investors, public. Right? So anybody who is there out in open. So we have included everybody here and said, not only you, if Mr. Narayan Murthy also invests 2 lakh rupees in a company or 1 lakh, he also becomes public. So everybody is represented here, and this is reverse repo plus the required reserve. So that's why it is called CIC. Don't confuse it with C, because some textbooks are writing it as C, which is absolutely incorrect. So have you written CIC plus bankers deposit with RBI? And I gave you the interpretation of CIC. So please write CIC. Write a note, CIC is currency in circulation. CIC is currency in circulation. And you understood the meaning, huh? You can write it. Currency in circulation means public plus bank deposits. Is this fine? Next one, please write M1. M1. So M1 mein what will you write? It is called narrow money. Please write narrow money. Narrow money means you can use it anytime you feel like. So narrow money is equal to currency with public. Narrow money is equal to currency with public. This is called as C. Currency with public plus demand deposit of public with bank. Demand deposit of public with bank. Demand deposit of public with bank. So what are we saying? We are saying that the money that people hold in hand plus the money people deposit in their savings account. Those two are the money which people can use anytime they feel like. So this is very liquid in nature. We call it a narrow. You don't hold it for 2 days. Narrow. You can pass anytime from anywhere. You can use it. ATM, whatever you want to use. M2 is equal to M2 is equal to M1 plus savings deposit with post office. Savings deposit with post office, because these days you have post office bank also, no, India Post Bank. Usme bhi to you can open a savings account. Savings account, savings. So That DD that you see is savings account. So what is this M2? M2 means that money which public can use easily. So there is one money which you can use easily, which is the money in your hand. This money you can use easily. Then the money that is there in the savings account of HDFC Bank, you can use easily. So that's why we take this and this, C plus D. So C plus D is called as M1. And there is one more money which you can easily use. If you go to post office these days, easily you can withdraw cash. There is no problem. So that is also included. It is called M2. So M1 is very liquid. M2 is also very liquid, but this is post office. In post office, if you open an account and deposit money, etc., some restrictions will be there. That in one day you can withdraw only 2 lakh rupees. 90% of the time, post office will tell you, our ATM is not working, lunchtime. These things will happen there. Electricity will not be there. Sometimes they will say, we don't know where the money is. You tell them, what did you say? They'll say, sorry, come back after 3 days. So that's why we are calling it as M2. Matlab, this is the second best. The first best is very simple, money that you have in hand plus HDFC. The second best is money you have in hand plus HDFC plus post office. So that's why it is called as M2. Achha, which one will be difficult? The moment you add fixed deposit, it becomes difficult. So what is M3? M3 means, please write, M3 is equal to broad money. Broad matlab more components are included. Narrow means only 1-2 component. Broad means 3-4 components. So what is broad money? Broad money means the best money that you have, M1, it's the best. And in the best, what did you do? In the best, you diluted it by writing time deposits. Time deposits. So this M2 you need to write like this. You just need to write what is written. And then what do you need to do? M3, you need to write this. I'll tell you the interpretation. Please write these two. Then I'll give you my own interpretation. This is the standard which is followed by the entire banking system. You write it first. Then I'll give you some of my formulas. Write it, I'll tell you. So because these are formulas, no, we can't change the formula. We can only interpret this. I'll give you the interpretation in a slightly different way. Again, this is NCERT, but thoda we can make it better. So after you write this, let me take you elsewhere. Iske upar I want to speak something. National Savings Certificate. What is National Savings Certificate? So guys, imagine that you are a wage earner. Every month you are getting 10,000 rupees, but you want to save some money. You can't go to mutual fund, you can't go to SIP, thoda difficult. So where will you go? Go to post office and tell post office that I have 1,000 rupees which I want to invest. They will say, okay sir, one page will be given to you called NSC, National Savings Certificate. Its value is 1,000 rupees. You have to keep your 1,000 for at least 5 years. You keep it for 5 years, you will get, for example, 7-8% rate of interest. So it is for middle class and lower middle class. And whatever money you invest through NSC, National Savings Certificate. So when you file your income taxes, if you have invested 1,000 rupees in NSC, you can tell the government that don't put income tax over 1,000 because my 1,000 is with you. So you will get income tax exemptions. That's the beauty. That's why we remove it, because it is a scheme. It's not money, it's a scheme actually. So we remove it. So let me give you my formulas. Ye to theek hai, it is okay, but this is complicated. That's my formula. So you write these formulas. This is how you should interpret this. Write it please. It will help you to answer questions. So please note it down. After this, you won't require any interpretation. It's there. Everything is there. So this will be the final formula for the day. But this is self-explanatory. We'll discuss it. No, PB. My interpretation, but not my formulas. So this side is though by RBI, but this right side is my interpretation, which will really help you in the exam. So, as you were asking why M0, so that's your M0. See the right side? Absolutely. I'll interpret this, don't worry. Write it first. It's easy through this method to memorize. Like this is how I memorize it. This is the UPSC method. Huh? Done. Let me interpret it. There is something called M0. M0 means whatever money is moving in the economy. If you see around with your naked eyes, you'll see some money in the hand of public, in the hand of bank. That's your CIC. But some money is hidden. Where is it hidden? Required reserve plus reverse repo. But all the money that you see here in M0 is the money which RBI printed. So we can say this is nothing but H. This was printed by RBI. So since RBI printed all this money and this money is moving around me, so I will say that if all these people go back to RBI, RBI will have to take this money back. So that's why it is obligation of RBI. So here the life is simple. Complications not there. Now life will become complicated because now we want to know something else. So this M0, I want to know that how much is the total money which RBI has to take back if people run to RBI. So this is obligation of RBI. So what is the interpretation of M0? It is obligation means if everybody goes to RBI and says take my money back, how much money will come back? This plus this. Because this is nothing but H. This entire thing is H. What is the second one? The interpretation of second one is I want to know how much money is there in the economy which people can easily use for transaction. Easily. So either the money that I have in hand or the demand deposit. So see, obligation of commercial bank. Because you see this part. What is this part? Obligation of commercial bank. Because if you go to commercial bank and say give my money, commercial bank has to return your money. So what is this M1? M1 is the money which is most liquid. So you can write in front of that or a short note, one line, one word. M1 is highly liquid. M1 is highly liquid. Because there is no restriction. Kahi bhi na, see, there is no restriction. M2, I also want to know that if whatever money I have in hand, guys, see, whatever money is there in my hand, I have spent it. Whatever money I have in HDFC savings account, there, I have spent it. So is there any other money which I can easily spend? Yeah, post office savings. So that's added. So this becomes my M2. So what is M2? What is the money which I can spend in totality if I want to, without restriction? So cash in hand, savings account in SDFC, savings account in post office. These are the things I can easily spend. But this one is slightly difficult. I have to go to post office, spend time, etc. This is less liquid than M1. So please write M2 is less liquid than M1. And what is M3? In M3, we have added a very difficult part. As an individual, either I hold cash or I hold demand deposit or something very difficult, which is time deposit. So if somebody says that don't go to post office, just tell me how much money do you have in hand or in any of the normal banks, then I will say, this is the money. So I'm not going to post office because everybody, do you have a post office account? All of us in the class. If I ask you to raise hand, hardly 10% people will have post office, 10%. That's the figure. So we want to know that if I talk to Indians and ask them, where have you kept cash? So normally Indians will say this, this and this. So that's your M3. And why is RBI interested in this? Because RBI wants to know that if RBI makes everything free in the economy, that go and spend your money, where will people jump immediately? They will either have cash in the hand or demand deposit, or they'll break this. Immediately they'll withdraw. So RBI wants to know this figure. But post office cannot be ignored. So you have another formula where you have all this plus post office. So RBI says, I want to know how much is there in SDFC. Plus RBI says, I also want to know, because 10% people have post office account. Well, those 10% people, I want to know how much they have kept in post office. This is that. So this is the money in hand plus HDFC. And this is post office. And this we have subtracted NSC because this is a scheme for saving taxes, etc. So it's not called as deposit, it is called as a scheme. So this you have to remove. So M4, please write. M4 is the least liquid. Time deposit means fixed deposit. M4 is the least liquid because time deposits with bank plus post office, both are included. So guys, I want to ask you the first question. Can you please fatapat tell me that what is the money which RBI has printed, so that if somebody runs back to RBI immediately will have to take that money? H, which is this. Now can you please tell me what is the money that you will use if you have emergency of funds? Emergency, M1. So if RBI wants to know how much money you will immediately use, M1. But do you also have money in, let's say, post office? So if you use money in the post office, that means you are using M2. But suppose I want to know two things from you. What is your total money in HDFC? And what is your total money in SDFC plus post office? So total money in SDFC is this. Time deposit means fixed deposit for 5 years, 6 years, 3 years. And this is the money with both SDFC and post office. This is M4. So if you compare in terms of liquidity, which is the most highly liquid is M1. This is the H. We take it out from everywhere. This is M1 is highly liquid, then this is slightly less, this is slightly less, this is least. This is the sequence. So the highest liquidity is M1. As you come down, liquidity goes down. If the number of components are more, liquidity is less. So here the number of components are only 2, highly liquid. Number of components 3, less liquid than this. And this has the very difficult component, time deposits, means fixed deposit, very less liquid. Yahan pe to 2 times time deposit, very less liquid. This is how you interpret. So in terms of liquidity, how you arrange them? Liquidity, as your friend has written, absolutely correct. M1 greater than M2 greater than M3 greater than M4. Shares. No, we don't count that because it is not a part of money supply. What becomes a part of money supply? Anything released by RBI. Anything, whatever RBI releases H, only that becomes money supply. So all these things that you see here, it is connected to RBI's H. See, National Savings Certificate was not connected to H. It's a scheme, so we took it out. So anything which is not connected to H is not a part of money supply for today. So tomorrow we'll do it more because abhi to so many things are left. Money multiplier, etc. we have to write for the exam perspective. So dictations part we are writing in a sequence, but learning part we have already done. MCQs are there, etc. which will do it. M2 then M1, correct. PMC. But shares we don't include shares, bonds and debenture because RBI does not release shares, bonds and debentures for public and say use it for transaction. It only releases H. Okay, fine. CP? Cool. No, Manu, because you have just taken this out. And there are many more things which have leaked from here. That is not added. So that's not true. All right. So hold on for some time. So you asked something, PP, you asked a question yesterday. And what happened is while I was answering your question, we lost the network. So what I would push you, you stay there for 1 or 2 minutes, I'll answer your question. PP, you please ask, what were you asking? Thank you so much, PMC. So tomorrow we'll continue with the remaining part. Under automatic route, foreign investors can be individuals or yes, under automatic route, either a company can come. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Under automatic route, either individuals can come or companies can also come. Both are allowed. So there is no problem. So that's your answer. What else is there? Because yesterday we lost the connection. When we started, we assumed only H in the economy is that we assume others don't have money. Absolutely correct, Manu. So chicken and egg problem. So your friend is asking a question, sahi question hai, acha hai, it's a good question. Your friend is saying that initially from somewhere money has to come. Absolutely, and that money is H. So correct. So that money goes to various places. Then money to multiply, others should have money to pay. Absolutely correct. Which means that unless one round is complete as salary, etc., it cannot start. Absolutely. So, Sai, how liquidity is compared to Sai, we don't compare it because this money is not with public, no. Anything which is with public, that we compare in terms of liquidity. So since this is bankers' deposit with RBI, so we keep it out. Is PIS account, can we deposit or withdraw money? No. PIS account is only meant for data management, so money is not there in that account. So there is no money. It's biometrics. I want to also. No PM, not the reason being that I never do it in any of the economics classes. I can give you some ideas related to economics, but not the science wala part. Science wala part I will not, but economics wala part, yes. So whatever involves the economics part, that I will do. Measures of money that you have given are simplified form of the first. Absolutely correct, RK. The measures which I gave you is in the simplified form. Good day, guys. The measures that we did is simplified form of the original measure only. Absolutely. Cool. So, if you develop any other doubt for tomorrow, you ask me in the class. So, thank you so much. Have a good day, but do revise. I'll take your doubts. But do revise, At least, just a second. Printing money, supplying. I did not understand what you wrote. Thoda, can we go back? How to imagine without printing money, money supply increasing by having only H? No, money supply does not mean printing. Money supply means circulation. So I'm getting a salary of 100 rupees. I have some money. So I took a bank loan of 100, but I already have 100 rupees savings, etc. I took a loan of 100 from my only previous 100. I'll give 10 rupees to the bank. So this supply does not mean printing. Supply means availability. So now the available cash in the economy, which I was hiding in my pillow, now that is out. That's the meaning. So thank you so much.